What's going on, everybody? I'm going to mute myself for a few. Y'all come on in. Make sure y'all hit the thumbs up, and we're going to get everything crack-a-lacking. I'm over here. I'm going to be doing some working because that's what I need to do to survive, right? I gotta work. Okay. But we will be going through the video for those of you who may not have anything to listen to during the day. Okay, so give me a second. I think I mentioned this video just in passing. Okay, in passing. So what I do know is that the father is seeking more time with the daughter. He's the one who's requested the hearing. And so this is a learning lesson for the men, also a learning lesson for the women, but this one is really for the men, right? This is something you don't do. You can't be online complaining about how you don't get to see your children when this is your how you act, right? So let me see. Okay, so it's actually 2 parts. It is long, okay? So it will be an hour. I may skip through it, but I think for the most part, we want to hear what he has to say, okay, y'all? And it's almost like, take me as I am, and I don't have to do what you want me to do. It don't matter because that's my child, and I can do what I want to do. I can act the way I want to act, and all of these things, and it don't matter because it's my child kind of situation, okay? So it says that the father who has motioned the court to resume his parenting time, unsupervised, he wanted to be unsupervised, okay? Despite the fact that he went to jail for DV and the fact that he says the most horrible slurs to women in front of his daughter, okay? So that's all I'm going to say. Now, what I'm going to do is start sharing the screen. And so when y'all come in, hit the thumbs up. Support the channel, and then I can spend more time talking instead of working. But I do have to start creating some things to make, because I guess I decided that I'm gonna have to try to make a what is it called, Etsy channel. I didn't want to really do that, but because Etsy requires so many pictures. Listen, I'm gonna put up one picture. I ain't got time to be taking different angles and going by something so the pictures will be perfect, and I'm not doing that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up a picture because I'm telling you, this shit is more work than me creating the items. This shit is too much, okay? Hello?
Hi, is this Lavanya?
Yes.
Hi, this is Julie from Sunlight. How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
Good. We just wanted to reach out and see if you had any interest in a lecture we have coming up about embroidery basics on October 13th and 14th.
I'm sorry, say it again.
It's embroidery basics lecture that we're having here at the top on October 13th or 14th. If you had any interest.
October 13th and 14th?
Yeah, it's either one of the days. It's 10 to 5 each day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how much is it?
So it's $49.99, and that's going to include a gift box, and we will be feeding you guys lunch. It's just really to teach you, what kind of stabilizer you need for each project, educate you on threads, designs, and things of that nature.
Oh, okay, so you're not doing any digitizing or anything like that?
No, not at this one, no.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't need the basics. I'm surpassed all of that. Yeah.
We just wanted to reach out and also remind you that our anniversary sale is the first weekend of October.
Okay. I'll be checking you out. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, they always want to give these beginner classes because they don't have nobody to teach anything further than that. They get you in there and then they want to sell you shit. No. Okay. Anyway, but that's a great thing. I guess. Not for me though. Anyway, let me share the sound. Oh, what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, I did not want to do Etsy. I looked into it like a couple of years ago, and Etsy, they give you great advice on taking pictures and stuff. But I'm gonna be honest, that's too much for me. Like I want to get at the sewing machine and make things. I draft my own patterns. If you tell me you want something, I'll create it. You tell me what size, I could do that. I do not want to then have to go down, find a spot to take pictures, right? And make sure that the pictures are great. And then they want 10 pictures. And I wanted to just put a listing up without any pictures. I'm willing to put the pictures over here or on my page. And then if y'all want it, link you somewhere where you could go and buy it, right? And that's what I'm going to try to do. But they even requiring that I put up at least one picture. I hope that's enough because, yeah, I'm willing to, like, if somebody say, hey, I like that, can you send me a couple more pictures? I'm willing to do that, right? I'll take some quick little pictures, but this shit is too much, okay? I spent all day yesterday trying to even figure out how to set up Etsy. That's a whole day. I was just sitting here reading through, right? And I'm still not sold on Etsy because it's some crazy shit. Okay. Anyway. So make sure you support your girl, right? If I make something small that costs about $10, but you're not really interested in it for real, it's okay. Pay for it. $10. I'm not even asking for the like donation. Buy some shit. Buy some shit. Okay. Donations is always accepted though. Okay. Because I'm running out of money to buy fabrics. Okay. Look, I can't even make myself use money to buy fabrics that's just gonna sit down there. Okay. So I do need to buy some fabrics, some pretty fabrics. If any of you have fabrics that you want to donate, holla at your girl. Okay. Send them to me. Shit. Don't send me no old rotten fabrics though. Okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. And that's all I got to say. Now, let's get to it. Look, I'm begging and shit. This the most begging I could do, okay? Because I'm not really the type to ask people for help or nothing like that. I don't know. It's just like not in me to do that. But I will work. I will work for food, y'all. I will work for the money. I will. Okay. If there's something you want to see me create or make, let me know. Okay. I'll do that. Even if I don't know how to do it, I'll figure it out and we'll do it. Okay. But other than that, here we go. Let's get to this shit right here. I do have it queued up somewhere. Here we go. Okay. And if y'all not subscribed, I do get my information. I try looking at this channel is called Looking at Legal Stuff. And the reason I like them, they don't do a lot of talking. They may put a little quotes and things in the video, but they're not doing a lot of talking and shit. I did find this video somewhere else on a Black woman's channel, and I would have liked to support her, but I can't. She talking too much. Okay. I want y'all to listen, and then we can all talk about it after. I don't like when, like, I try my best not to give out. I don't want y'all to think what I think. When we come up, we'll talk about it together. That's different. But I don't want to be here telling y'all how y'all should be thinking about situations. Okay, I'm trying my best not to do that. And I'm starting to not look at the videos beforehand because I don't want to give away anything. You know what I mean? Beforehand. So I think, but this is long. This is about an hour, and this is only part 1. Okay. But I promise you, It's worth it, okay? And maybe we might skip through some of it when we get the gist of this guy. Because I went to sleep. Look, I went to sleep. I think I had something else on YouTube. And when I woke up, like to go to a bathroom break, in the middle of the night, this video was on. And I was appalled, okay? I was like, wait a minute, what? It kind of kept me up for 15 minutes and then I went back to sleep. But that's all I'm gonna say. This is why this one stood out to me. And I did not see it all. I just saw little bits and pieces as I woke up. It was still going on. That's how long this shit is. Okay? Anyway, if you're in the chat, I cannot see you because whatever I can see is what you see, right? What you see on your screen right now is what I see. Now, if I come to the chat, you'll see me come to the chat. Okay. So I'm not looking at the chat right now, but for everybody who's here right now, thank you for coming over. If you're not going to stick around, that's okay. Hit the thumbs up and come back later when I put the link out and y'all jump up. I'm not going to put the link out while this plays because y'all know we don't get through videos when I do that. In fact, most of the time, I'm the one who's not letting us get through the video long enough. I don't think we've ever gotten through our video ever until I started doing this, which I just started doing these, right? Because I talk a lot. And when it's more than me up here, we talk a lot. Okay. And I just want to get through this. Here we go, y'all. I'm rambling right now. See? Anyway, Cash App is $ Bomb Cherry Juice. So support the channel. Here we go.
Good afternoon. The court will go on the record and call the matter of Casey Atchison versus Joseph Trevor, file number 18-17328DS. If counsel could please place his appearance on the record.
Yes, Your Honor. James Saffel appearing on behalf of Casey Atchison.
Thank you. And I do see that she is present. I do not see Mr. Trevor at the moment. It is only 1:01, so I will give him a few minutes. I'll give him about 5 minutes to see if he signs on or calls in, and then if not, we will proceed from there.
Thank you.
It just appeared we have Mr. Trevor signing into Zoom. Sir, if you could please unmute.
All right.
Yes, can you hear me okay, sir?
I sure can.
All right, we are here today on Mr. Trevor's motion regarding parenting time. Mr. Saffel, anything initial, any opening statement you'd like to make before we begin testimony?
Yeah, briefly, Your Honor. I don't know if the court has had an opportunity to review the trial brief.
I have.
I'm getting some feedback. I'm not sure why. In any event, Your Honor, the parties were never married. They have one child who's 5 years old. They have not been back to court for revised motions or orders since the consent judgment of support was entered in 2018. At that time, plaintiff, my client, was granted sole physical custody and they shared joint legal custody. Parenting time was to be as they agree and arrange. So since 2018, they have been managing, with some difficulty, but managing to work out parenting time. When they separated in 2017, shortly about the time of the birth.
I'm sorry, yeah, my computer tripping. I'm trying to do let me see. Give me a second. Because I do have to, I'm not sure what's going on. Can't grab that. Okay, there we go. I don't want to, okay, there we go. Okay, because I'm going to have to do a split screen. There's another way of doing it. I don't know. This is new Windows for me. I'm gonna be honest, this is new Windows. I just downloaded this Windows. I don't even know why I did it. I'm thinking about reverting back, but okay, here we go.
Earth. Defendant became very abusive. He raped her, he stalked her, and his abusive conduct, as demonstrated by the deposition transcript and other events, has continued to this day, even perhaps escalated. And despite that abusive conduct, my client has tried and tried to keep him involved in this child's life, and he has. However, I don't think he's seen the child since December of 2022, when he attacked my client at a restaurant in Traverse City, subsequently arrested after evading the police for a few months, was arrested, charged, and convicted of domestic violence. He is currently on probation. Probation is 1 year. There's a no contact order as part of the terms of that probation, as well as other terms standard in our jurisdiction, such as no drugs or alcohol or marijuana or weapons. Also following the domestic violence incident in December of 2022, my client sought and obtained a personal protection order that was not contested, and that will continue in place until December of 2023, this year. The personal protection order, as is characteristic, allowed for parenting time with the minor child, provided it was done through an exchange at Safe Haven or some other neutral third party. However, since December 2022, respondent has not, or defendant rather, Mr. Trevor, has not sought any parenting time. Prior to December of 22, he had seen the child only once since the previous June 2022. Basically, the child's birth, he's been involved, but in a very tenuous way. For example, he's never once called the child to say, "I love you," to say good night, anything of the sort. He just has never done it. And he's rarely purchased gifts for her, never sent a card. He just has been marginally involved. The parties live about an hour apart. My client in Traverse City, Mr. Trevor in Elmira. He testified extensively in his deposition. With his stated comments was that plaintiff is a great mother and a good person, but I fucking hate her and I wish she would die. That's characteristic of the kind of language that was heard throughout the deposition, where he uses profanity an extraordinary number of times, all on the record, all sworn testimony. And this has been, my client will testify, the way he always talks, the way he talks to her during exchanges, the way he talks in front of the child. It's just extraordinarily abusive, offensive, and sets a horrible example for this very young child. For example, in December, when he attacked my client at the restaurant in Traverse City, he lashed out at the waitress and called her a cunt and did this in front of the child. Mr. Trevor testified in his deposition that he'd probably do it again. Actually, that she deserved it. She had cut him off because he was drinking to excess. This is during his parenting time at this restaurant that was arranged. And that's when he lashed out at her.
Okay, so it was his parenting time with the child. He went to a restaurant with his daughter. I think she's 4, right? I think she's 4 years old. And he called the waitress a cunt just because she cut him off from drinking. Okay, he's with his 4-year-old at the time. He's violent. He uses foul language around his daughter. And yeah. and he's trying to regain custody. He wants some more parenting time. Okay, so here we go.
During that ugly incident at the restaurant, he screamed at a minor child in her face, calling her stepfather a fucking faggot and a bitch. He did this.
So while with his daughter, he ended up screaming at another child and calling her father fucking faggot. What? And a bitch. Woo, baby. In front of his daughter. And he did that to another child. Okay? Listen, and I know some people will be like, some of these men will be like, oh, he was drunk. Even if he was drunk, first of all, he shouldn't be drunk if he's the only parent with a child, right? He has to drive. And even if he didn't have to drive, let's say he walked to the restaurant with his daughter, he still has to make sure that she's safe, and he has to be in his right mind in order to take care of his daughter. So there is no rhyme or reasoning behind his actions when he's with his daughter.
Testified in his deposition because this little girl had said things to him at the restaurant that night to the effect that her stepfather, my client's husband, is stronger than Mr. Trevor. And apparently, and some other things of that nature. Apparently that set him off to such a great extent that he literally just screamed in the face of this little child, calling her stepfather a fucking faggot. Why he did that, why he chose those words.
Oh shit, he was talking to his own daughter. Wait a minute, what? It was okay. I misheard when he said a child. I thought he meant another child, but he called his own daughter. He told his own daughter that her stepdad is a fucking faggot. Oh God, that's even worse. Damn. Okay.
My client will testify that's just how he talks. That's how he is all the time. His relationship with his daughter has been tenuous. About a year ago, he sought to, as they called it, sign off on his parental rights. Doing so, he testified in his deposition because of money issues regarding child support. The court can look at the file and see that he's been late on child support. There's been warrants issued 4 or 5 times since the child was born. I believe the child support amount is only about $300 a month and has never been modified since the date of the order. Yet, despite him claiming that he's essentially a wealthy guy, he says he can get $500,000 in 24 hours by selling his assets. He claims to have assets of about $500,000 and debt of only $33,000. But despite his testimony as to his ownership of an excavation company, his recent acquired ownership in a Jersey Mike's restaurant in Gaylord, I believe, his testimony that he makes money in other ways, selling things, fixing snowmobiles, shoveling snow. He doesn't prioritize supporting his child. In fact, he testified in his deposition that my bills and everything else is a higher priority than child support. I mean, he's very clear in his testimony. Everything comes before child support. He's got to pay his bills, and he's got an explanation for why he does that. Essentially, he says, geez, if I don't pay my bills, then I don't have a house. If I don't have a house, I don't have any place for her to stay. In any event, he has sought to sign off on his rights. He actually approached the friend of the court. He testified. I think he ultimately realized that he had to consent to an adoption in order to actually sign off on his child support obligation. But it's an indication of the tenuousness of the relationship. One of the key factors, best interest factors that, in this case appears to be quite tenuous. Another example is in June of last year, when he and my client got into a dispute about how he was behaving around the child and whether he was having his parents supervise his visits as they had agreed. He got upset when she said, you're not following our agreement. And he proceeded to pack up all of his daughter's belongings into garbage bags. He testified to this, and to bring them to my client's house, and left them in the front yard of the house. While she was home, my client tried to protect the child by taking her upstairs and out of view of what her father was doing. He essentially said then, and in text messages, that I'll see her at graduation. And his parents followed up with a phone call to my client saying the same thing. Essentially, what they were saying is, we're done with this child. We'll see her when she's older. There's no question that the established custodial environment is only with my client. He's never been the person the child goes to in any significant extent for any issues. For example, he's never been to a doctor's visit. He's never been to her school. He doesn't even know what she goes
Never
to.
allowed to.
Mr. Trevor, you can't interrupt. Okay, you're going to have your chance to testify here in a moment. Okay, sir. Thank you.
He's never been to a doctor's visit, never gone to the school. He doesn't know where he goes to school. He doesn't know who the doctor is. He is a person who testified that he really doesn't care about her school, essentially saying that he doesn't agree with the perceived politics that might exist at this school, and he doesn't want to be bothered by it. He doesn't want to know anything about it. There's no question that the established custodial environment is with my client, and the best interests of this child are to, stay primarily with my client. The question is, how much time should he have? What should the arrangement be with a guy who is this outrageous, this out of control? I think at a minimum, it needs to be supervised for a period of time. Obviously, getting therapy is something that my client has been pushing for years. His testimony in his deposition is that, is not something that he can benefit from. I think he said he's not going to go talk to some asshole about a cunt. That's how he talks. And he's just completely unwilling to get help, to get therapy, and to come to some kind of better understanding of how he ought to behave around his daughter. But he doesn't seem to really care about that very much. He's more interested in, shocking people, making outrageous statements, does not seem to care about how he impacts other people. He even testified that he's so upset by his daughter saying things about the new stepfather, her stepfather, that he told her she can't mention his name in his house, in Mr. Trevor's house. And when questioned about, geez, don't you want to know about her life? He said, no, I don't want to know anything about her life over there. I don't care about their vacations. I don't care about what they do. I don't want to know about it. Don't speak that guy's name in my house. That's what he testified, essentially, that he told his daughter. There's that's essentially the fact pattern, Your Honor. The other thing that I think the court, should take note of is that the motion that Mr. Trevor filed contains no statement of facts, none of the information that's required of the pleader. He used a form called a motion regarding parenting time. And under Section E, it says use a separate sheet of paper to explain what the parenting time agreement is and attach all necessary, include all necessary facts. There's nothing attached. There's no facts about what the parenting time agreement is. Under F, it says, as to best interests, use a separate sheet. Explain why is it the best interest of the children would benefit from your relief. He doesn't attach anything. There's no explanation. There's nothing. And under G, it says use a separate sheet of paper to explain what you want. And he says, see attached. And there he says, I would like to have Lonnie for 4 days every other week, Friday morning through Thursday afternoon. I believe that his pleading is completely inadequate and ought to be dismissed pursuant to MCR 2.111B1 under general rules of pleading that requires that a statement of facts be provided, without repetition, on which the pleader relies in stating a cause of action, specific allegations necessary reasonably to inform the adverse party of the nature of the claims so the adverse party can defend the claims. I'd submit to the court that the pleading is just on its face completely inadequate and needs to be dismissed. And it should be dismissed pursuant to MCR 2.504B1, which allows the court sui sponte or on motion, which I'm making now, to dismiss the action for failure to comply with the court rules. In other words, for failure to state a cause of action, state any fact, any circumstance, let alone proper cause or a change of circumstances to change this order that's been in existence since 2018, he states nothing. So I'd ask the court as a preliminary matter to rule on that issue. And thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have right now.
Thank you. All right, I will indicate, preliminary, it is not my intent to dismiss the motion on those issues. This is a motion for parenting time. While certainly Mr. Trevor could have supplied some additional information, I think we're on notice that is what he's doing is seeking to set some type of specific parenting time. He is requesting 4 overnights every other week. The parenting time statute, MCL 722.27A, does indicate that parenting time shall be granted in specific terms if requested by either party at any time. Their original judgment indicated as the parties agree, so there was not specific terms. And I don't think there has to be a showing of change of circumstances to request specific parenting time. So I am going to allow the motion to proceed. We'll take testimony and then see if changes are made or not, and what those changes would be. Thank you. Mr. Trevor, please unmute and let me know who you would like to call as your first witness.
Well, I guess I don't have any witnesses, and
Well, do you plan to provide testimony yourself or not?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. So there's
Well,
a few.
hold on. I'm not going to make you provide testimony, but if that's what you want to do, I need to swear you in. So do you want to provide testimony?
Sure. Yes.
All right. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right. Please state your name for the record.
Joseph Anthony Trevor.
All right. This is your opportunity then to provide any testimony you want to provide in support of your motion regarding parenting.
Okay. So basically, after Lonnie was born in April of 18, I had started watching over Lonnie, I think like the third day after she was out of the hospital. And then for the 4 years, I had 4 to 5 days every other week, consistently with overnights until just end of March or April of 22. And then we started fighting. And then basically she had said that if I didn't have Lonnie stay with my parents, that I wasn't allowed to have her overnight. And that's how this whole thing kind of escalated. I do admit that I do use a lot of vulgar language. I'm pretty good person. I'm a good dad. I've got a million that I've done with Lonnie. I've bought her lots of things. She's got a $2,200 dirt bike sitting at my house right now that I bought for her birthday that she got to use one time. She's got a $500 Power Wheel that she got to use for a summer.
He bought his daughter a dirt bike, but she's 4. Now, she's 4, she's not 14. So did he buy that dirt bike for her or for himself, but claiming he bought it for her? Oh, and if I'm correct, he's not paying child support. He buying dirt bikes, not paying child support, but buying dirt bikes for 4-year-olds. I could have sworn she's 4 years old. Now I may be wrong, because I'm not really listening. I'm working, trying to draft up a pattern real quick. But it's a quick, simple pattern. But I could have sworn she's 4. So we just want to. If I'm wrong on that, it's okay. But even if let's say she's 8, why would she need this dirt bike? She's a little girl. He bought that shit for himself. I think he have other kids too. I'm not sure, but here we go.
She goes swimming all the time in our indoor pool, and take her to the park and the zoo and all kinds of things that were never mentioned. I kind of avoided this whole situation because I'm not really good with were mentioned. I kind of avoided this whole situation because I'm not really good with, I guess, representing myself or having any real way to represent myself. Income is a big deal. Again, that's the only reason why I had even questioned or pursued signing off. It was nothing towards Lonnie. It was more or less having the state of Michigan trying to arrest me on a bench warrant for something, for child support that I couldn't pay. Being self-employed at the time for the last dozen years, it's a struggle. And then now I'm financially more stable. And yes, as the attorney had mentioned, I could sell everything and I could have $500,000, but I'd have to sell my house, my equipment, and I'd be living out of a truck. So for him to say that I could just at a whim be rich, it's possible, but it's not like I'm swimming in money. I filed the motion for parenting time at the friend of the court. I'd asked for some help. They'd given me some contacts for legal advice. Couldn't afford anything like that. Same with any type of appointed lawyer. Really couldn't do it. So basically doing all I can for what I know. And I'm not asking for anything crazy. I just want the time back that I had with her. And 4 days a week, every other week was Casey's idea. We agreed on it, and then we did 5 days. And just trying to get back to that. I know that being a single father in the country, you have the world against you. And I'm in a therapy group right now. It's a men's group, and we're talking about all the issues that came about the situation in December, and it really helps. I'm not.
He's in a man's group, a therapy group. And look, these men think because they come together, right? He's just saying he's in a man's group, and then he mentioned therapy. You know, he didn't say he's in therapy. Okay, the manosphere could be considered therapy. In fact, some of these men consider it therapy. That's why these black men like to come together in this black manosphere and talk and shit. Because instead of going to get therapy with a therapist, they want to just sit amongst each other. And nobody is trying to help each other. They're just venting. That's why they're not getting any better. That's why he thought that his excuse and all the cussing that you're going to see, when that lawyer start asking him questions, y'all going to see the real him. Right now, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm in therapy with a man's group. Okay. See, I didn't hear none of this. I only saw hearing when that lawyer started asking him questions. That's when the shit got crazy, okay? Here we go.
Not a bad person. I do things for the community out of just because. I like to try to get my daughter to see that as well. During the tornado, I brought her along and she helped us do tornado cleanup. See a homeless person, we bought him lunch. I try to teach her good values. I'm not a bad person just because I swear. I do take her to church every Sunday. I think it's good to have those values. But me and her mother do not agree. And just because I do not like who she's with, yeah, I may have said some things that were not 100% right, but I am only human. And the only thing to do is to learn from the mistakes I have made. But I don't think that keeping Lonnie away from myself is good for me or her.
Anything else you want to say, sir?
Got a million things I could say, don't know what to say.
Okay, does that mean you have nothing else to say at this time?
Yeah. I mean, unless you've got questions to ask me, I couldn't get 10 words out. This has been a really big deal for me. Starting with the Jersey Mikes, when we had started with this over a year ago, I had to kind of step away, and I lived out of town for 4 months. So I really couldn't pursue the court or legal action with the parenting time. And then sadly, the altercation happened in December, and we kind of went at it backwards. But this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just didn't want to stir the water, or because things were good. We had the days, but the day that Lonnie was crying on Father's Day and asked why she couldn't stay at my house, I told Casey that I was going to take her to my house and I was going to have her spend the night and go to church with her in the morning. And that's when she decided to not let me have Lonnie anymore. Yeah, I was upset. I packed up all her clothes and all her toys. I said, if I can't have Lonnie, you might as well take all her stuff and she can enjoy it over there. I'm not going to have clothes and toys that my fourth daughter is going to be outgrown or too big to use, because I don't know when her mother will let me see my daughter again. So I dropped all her stuff off. So you can keep it. You can go through, throw it away. I don't care. I didn't throw it in the.
Okay, so y'all hear what he did? So the mother said, okay, you got to do this, that, and the third, or you can't get the daughter. He has a tantrum, temper tantrum, and decide to bring all his daughter's shit and drop it off. Now, what does the daughter think about that? See, he didn't think about what the daughter might be thinking. See, he's selfish, childish, right? Because if my dad had, even if my mom and dad was fighting, I still would have understood that my dad loved me, my mom loved me, right? But then when my dad get mad at my mom, he then drops everything of mine to the house, yelling at her and talking about how he not gonna see me no more. He don't want to keep my things there, and all that shit. Like, he could have kept all that shit. He paid for it. Why would he do that? Because he was trying to make a point. He was threatening, right? And he wanted to hurt her, the mother, and the daughter. Because there's no reason for him to have done that. It's not like the mother bought the things and she was asking for them back. He buy his shit for what happens at his house. She buy the things that happens at her house. Okay? This is ridiculous.
In the yard, I put it on the front porch, so that was a lie. She had tires for her car that sat in my barn for a year. I dropped them off and stacked them up. There was nothing that was disorganized. There's no screaming, no yelling when that happened. I did text her and all that stuff, and there's pictures of it. And then at the filling station, when this altercation happened, and I don't know if it's true or not, but Casey was pregnant at the time. I don't think a woman that's pregnant should be consuming alcohol, and I think that's a very
He just said he don't know if it's true or not. But then I don't think a woman who's pregnant should be consuming alcohol. He don't know if it's true or not, but then he wanted to sling that at her, right? He not sure if it's true, but let me just throw this shit out there. Okay, here we go.
irresponsible thing to do as a parent, especially if you're expecting. And I know that it's just another part of the whole situation, but what happened that day isn't a direct reflection on me personally. Yes, I do get upset. Yes, I swear. Yes, I use, I say stupid things. But again, I'm human, and I go to church every Sunday and I get yelled at for that. How can you go to church and be a Christian and still say this or say that? Because I'm not perfect. That's all I can say. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Saffel, any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. It's true, is it not, sir, that at this altercation in December 2022, you called the waitress a cunt?
I do not recall, but again, like I had told you before in the deposition, if it was mentioned that has been said, then I'm going to assume that I may have said it. I cannot confidently or 100% say that I had said it. Again, I couldn't even tell you what color shirt I even had on that day or what I even ate that day. So anything that I may have said, that's 8 months ago, roughly. I couldn't tell you what we talked about last week when you called me.
And you also testified at page 55, line 15, that you would do it again. You would call her a cunt again. Isn't that right?
Correct. Because if I was that upset, and because I got supposedly cut off when it was only, we had I ordered 3 drinks or whatever, then yes, I was upset, and she was kind of rude with me, and I was not in a good mood. So yes, if she did it again, I'd probably say it again.
And what you said to the waitress that day, you said it with Lonnie sitting right there. Lonnie was right in front of you and she heard it, correct?
Correct. She was there.
And you also broke Casey's phone that night, correct?
I had broken the phone in the parking lot. Yes.
And then you threw the phone at Casey, correct?
No, I thought I had handed it to her through the driver's window.
And that night, Lonnie said something to you to the effect that that her stepfather was stronger than you, and you said that he was a fucking faggot and a little bitch, correct?
She had said a multiple of things, and I think that it was all. I personally think it was all fed to her. All those the whole dozen statements or whatever. I feel like I was kind of set up in that whole situation. And I told you that my parents were not allowed to be there. Casey had mentioned that if my parents were to come, that they were going to leave. So I feel like I was kind of singled out in this whole situation. Again, I take 100% responsibility for what I did. You know, I still think about it, and I can't believe, you know, I still can't believe that I let myself get to that level. I swear, but I try not to swear in front of my daughter, you know, and I know Casey swears all the time. She says fuck more than any man that I know. And, you know, I didn't think that was a big issue, because if her mother can fuck all the time, and again, pardon my language, you know, I know we're in court, but if it happens there, I figured, you know, if I say it one or two times, obviously I'm not trying to say it in front of her. You know, I don't want her to go to school and be swearing. But if I do it on accident, you know, obviously I try and catch myself. But yeah, when I was upset, I said things that I shouldn't have said. And like I had told you before, I say things and people take it out of context. I told you people could say I'm racist. They could say I'm a homophobe. They could say I'm whatever. But I'm not. I say things that I don't entirely intend to mean, and that's one of those things. You just can't take back words.
You testified in your deposition that you have trouble controlling your temper and avoiding saying the kinds of things that you said that night in December of 2022, correct?
Correct. And basically because I had not seen my daughter other than maybe one or two times for that whole year. And it just kind of festered in me, just the resentment and the hate and the, like, how could you keep her away from me when I've, you know, been trying to do, you know, do things to be a good dad and to be a good co-parent with Kate. And when she packs her clothes,
in December,
let me finish.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the client or the deponent or the witness not be permitted to ramble on. Answer the questions.
Do you want me to answer? No. Or do you want me to answer?
Mr. Trevor, so you had your chance to testify. So he's going to ask you questions. When that question is answered, then he can move on to the next question.
Good.
Thank you.
In the parking lot that night in December of 2022, you lunged over the car seat from the back of the car and smashed Casey Atchison's head into the window, correct?
I do not recall.
And then you took the phone, you scratched her hand and took the phone out of her hand and then broke the phone on the ground, correct?
I did break the phone, yes. I did grab the phone out of her hand and break it, yes.
And Casey said something to you that night to the effect that you can't be acting this way in front of Lonnie. Do you remember that?
I do not.
And you said, you said, you think I give a fuck. You think I care about Lonnie. Is that what you said to my client that night?
Do not recall. Do not recall any of that.
And Lonnie was in the car, in her car seat when this altercation took place, correct?
Correct. I was the one that had put her in the car seat.
Okay. So she was in the car, and then when you lunged across her to get at Miss Atchison, you were literally on top of your daughter while she was in the car seat.
No.
And she was hitting you and begging you to stop going after her mother, correct?
I do not know. But I was not over top of Lonnie. I was actually in front of Lonnie, between her and the front of her seat.
And Lonnie was begging you to stop attacking her mother, correct?
Do not recall. Again, she could have. I don't remember any of the conversation that Casey had said that during that night. I do not remember anything that Lonnie may have said. I do remember that when I was putting Lonnie in the car.
I'm gonna stop you there and go on to another question, sir. What did you write on the receipt to the waitress who had helped you that night?
I do not know.
Did you leave her a tip?
I did not leave a tip.
Did you tell her she could fuck off?
Do not know. I do not recall. Again,
You're on probation now for this offense, are you not?
correct, I am.
And there's a no contact order with Casey Atchison?
Correct, and that's absolutely fine with it. That's okay.
And you're ordered not to possess any firearms, is that right?
Correct, and I do not. I
And you're ordered not to drink, and have you had a drink since you've been on probation?
no, I'm not. I don't drink.
You're also
But,
ordered not to smoke pot. Have you had any pot since you've been on probation?
Technically, it says that I'm allowed medical, so, but no. So, but yeah, it says no alcohol, no firearms, no other substances unless it's prescription or medical marijuana.
Do you recall your testimony in your deposition that prior to going on probation, you smoked marijuana every morning?
I used to, yeah. Yeah, I have a bunch of severe injuries that almost ended my life, and instead of being on opioids, I had turned to marijuana in my early 20s, which I was heavily against.
I'm going to stop him from testifying onward, Your Honor.
All right, yes, the question was asked. You can move forward or answer.
At one point, you were a marijuana grower, right?
Yes, I was a caregiver.
And you were growing marijuana in your home?
I had a garden in the basement, yes.
And Lonnie would stay at that house, correct?
Lonnie would stay at the house, but yes, I also do vegetables and everything like that. So that's
I'm going to ask
that's what I've been.
I'm going to ask.
That nigga, ooh, Lord, he said, and you was growing marijuana in the house, right? Yes, I was growing a garden in the basement. And he said, you was growing marijuana in there. And Lonnie was there. Yep. And also I was growing vegetables, but nobody cared about the vegetables. It's not about the vegetables. And why would you grow vegetables in your basement instead of outside in your yard? Because you're not going to hide the vegetables, but you wanted to hide that marijuana, though. Oh, my goodness. Look, it be the ones that look like this. They'll come over here and talk about what Black people doing. But what I'm saying to y'all is all you got to do is listen to these court cases and see what they doing.
That he be ordered to respond to the question and not testify about questions that aren't asked.
And Mr. Trevor, you do need to be careful with that. You do need to answer the question. You're going to have a chance to provide what would be called a redirect. So you would, if there's questions that you were asked now and you want to provide additional explanation, you're going to have your chance after the questions are done being asked of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do you recall testifying in your deposition that you fucking hate Casey Atchison?
Yeah.
And that you wish she would die?
No, I don't wish she would die. I mean,
Your Honor, the question was, does he recall testifying to that?
yeah.
I'm not asking him whether he wishes
Thing.
now whether
Yes.
he would die or not.
Yep.
Okay.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna-
Next question.
I go to that attitude.
On page 94 of your deposition, you indicated that you don't speak negatively about Casey to most people.
You got to repeat that.
On page 94 of your deposition, at line 7, you stated, I don't speak negatively about Casey to most people. I say she's a great mother, and that is that. But we don't work together. I fucking hate her. I wish she would die. Obviously not in an accident with Lonnie. But if she were to die of natural causes, I could sleep at night. That would be cool. Was that your testimony, sir?
Yep. Yes.
Is your testimony today that you didn't mean what you testified to in your deposition?
You're going to have to repeat that. There is some static over the.
You wish she would die of natural causes, correct?
Again, it cut out. I missed the first part.
The judge is the one with the bad sound. He listening over some speaker or something.
Can you repeat yourself?
I'm going to move on, sir. You testified on page 81, line 22. You hope Casey Atchison would fall down the stairs. Isn't that right?
What's that? Again, either I didn't hear part of it or it cut out. I just heard Casey.
Mr. Trevor, I don't know if you got a bad connection. I'm able to hear the question fully. So
I can hear you clearly. All I heard was Casey fall down the stairs. That's the only part I heard.
all right.
The question beginning at
What's that interference? Someone got a microphone on?
I have no idea what the interference is. I'm going to turn down my volume here. Maybe that will help.
Okay.
That was too much down. Let's see if that helps. Do you recall being asked in your deposition, did you tell Lonnie that you hoped Casey would fall down the stairs and hit her head twice on everyone twice? Is that something you told Lonnie? Do you recall that question?
I believe I do recall the question, and I don't think that was something that was ever said to Lonnie or mentioned in front of Lonnie.
Your answer was, I have no idea. Sounds like something I would say, but it is not something I would say to her.
Correct. Yeah, that doesn't sound like anything that was said.
And then you testified on page 82, line 2. I definitely told that to Casey.
Okay, we're gonna fast forward, y'all. He said some terrible things. He gonna admit to saying some terrible things. Okay. The judge need to fix that shit. Because the feedback is coming from the judge. He's not even talking, so I'm not sure why he don't mute himself, but that's where it's coming from.
She basically had stalked, was my shadow the whole time. When it was supposed to be our father-daughter time. I told Casey, I said the next time I hope to see your face is in the obituaries, because I don't know, I was upset.
And you testified to that on page 100, beginning on line 23. And you said that in front of Lonnie, didn't you?
I did.
You deny that you Casey Atchison during your relationship with her. Is that right?
Can you repeat that?
You deny, do you not, that you Casey Atchison during your relationship with her?
Yes, of course I deny that.
And if she testifies you did, she'd be lying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and we can go onto that, but if she didn't want me, I mean, I was, and she was acting weird, and this was pregnant, so we stopped having foreplay, and I thought that she had.
Y'all listen to him. Oh my God. So she accused him of rape, y'all. And you hear his excuse? Well, she was pregnant and she didn't want it anymore. So I, had oral sex with her. And if she didn't want it, like, if she didn't want sex, if a woman don't want sex, that means no sex, right? If she was okay with just giving you oral sex, she would say, yeah, let's do it. And she would just give you oral pleasure. But when she said no, you don't then come force your penis down her throat. Kind of bullshit is that? It's some fucked up shit, man. Okay. Here we go.
And she was acting weird, and this was pregnant, so we stopped having foreplay, and I thought that she had, I don't know, some self-conscious issues or whatever because of the hormones.
Sir, I'm going to stop your testimony. You've already had a chance to testify. You can do that.
Look, I thought she was self-conscious because of the hormones, so I decided to just take it from her. Maybe she felt like she wasn't sexy no more. And she didn't want to give me none. So I decided I want her to know that I still want her. So I took it.
Again later.
Next question.
You've not asked to see Lonnie since December of 2022, correct?
I believe that is false.
Well, did you put anything in writing to my client about seeing Lonnie since the domestic violence incident last year?
No, I haven't. I don't.
Did you call my client to ask about seeing Lonnie since December of last year?
No, I can't.
He didn't call or put it in writing. So how did he ask to see her then? The first question was, did you request to see Lonnie since October, December, whatever, of 2022? And he said, I believe that not to be true. So he's saying that he did request to see his child. And then he said, well, did you put anything in writing? Nope. Did you call her? Nope. So how else did he make this request? Through ESP? Like, did he Did he think about it real hard and she was supposed to get the memo through his mental stimulation or some shit? Jesus.
So how is it that you did request time with Lonnie since December of last year?
Through the court. What do you mean?
Okay, other than this pleading, that's the only thing you've done. You didn't try to establish a parenting time. Let me ask the question, sir, please.
No, I did not try to contact Casey to work on this or resolve it with her directly. No.
Okay.
I decided that it was time for me to step up and that I should have listened to my other business partners and friends and hired a lawyer and had done this the right way.
You could have gone to Safe Haven or used some other third party neutral to exchange Lonnie, but you just chose not to do it. Is that right?
We never had that. There was nothing ever set up like that. No, that's a false statement. She had asked if we could meet up and I could see Lonnie basically like what we did at the bowling alley and at the park. And on both of those instances, she just basically had followed me around like a shadow, made me really uncomfortable and gave me a lot of anxiety because it feels like I'm doing something wrong when I'm just spending time with my daughter. And that just kind of fueled more resentment and hate, really. And something that
Your Honor, you've been late on child support payments for ever since she was born, correct?
basically, yes.
And your testimony in your deposition was that child support is the lowest priority, that your other bills come first, correct?
Correct. That because
Sir, you answered the question.
yeah, go ahead. Keep asking.
Late last year, you bought a new truck paying $53,000. Is that right?
I financed a new vehicle, yes.
And you put $5,500 down, I believe your testimony was in your deposition.
Pretty close to that, correct.
Wow.
And your monthly payment is $850 a month for that fancy
God.
truck, correct?
Damn.
You mean my safe vehicle?
God damn. Motherfuckers paying. I heard people say they paying like $1,000 in car note. I did not believe. Wow. So you're getting you a $50,000 vehicle. You put $5,000 on it. You behind on child support. You pay $800 a month just to keep the vehicle. Are you kidding me? Like anything over $250, $300, I'm pissed off about. Okay, I'm motherfuckers is paying $1,000 just in a car note. Wow, that's why. Listen, ooh, Lord, but it's okay to pay that, but not if you're behind in your child support though. What the world was coming to, y'all. I remember when, like, when we bought my son's car, we were seriously saying we're not paying more than $250. We got him a brand new car. We're not paying more than $250 a month. $250. Okay, and we did a trade-in of a car, and I'm talking about it was a junker too. It wasn't even a car, with a decent trade, but they gave us a couple of grand. They had a program back in 2012 where they was taking junkers, right? They were taking junk cars and giving you. But anyway, listen, I told my son, look, dude, if you need to be able to pay your rent, even though he had rent at the time, like except here, but I'm like, you got to be able to pay this. You should be able to pay your car note and a few other bills in a week's pay. So if you don't make $1,000 a week, then you shouldn't have no car note that's $1,000 a month. Okay. That's similar to rent, right? When people say, hey, they require that you make your amount of your rent in a week. That's what they require. That shit, listen, that has changed, of course, because Jesus. Okay. That has changed because rent is way surpassed people's incomes. Okay, they're not, the inflation is fucked. Everything is upside down on its head. But it used to be required that you make in a week what your rent was in order to qualify to get a place. Now I guess they said, okay, as long as you make in 2 weeks in a paycheck. And I'm thinking that's what, listen, ooh, Lord, anyway. But I cannot believe this dude said his child is the least. He got other bills, and then he got an $800. Then he had $5,000 to put down. Man.
That I had to purchase for my daughter because her mother didn't like the vehicle I had. Yes.
I'd ask that you be responsive to the question rather than testify, sir. You'll have a chance to say that kind of thing later. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And you testified in your deposition that you can get $500,000 in 24 hours. That was at page 96, line 5. Isn't that
True.
right?
I could have a fire sale and sell everything off. I'd be homeless, but I'd have money.
So your testimony today is that you have a net worth of approximately $500,000, but it's tied up and it's not liquid. Is that right?
Yeah, you pulled my bank statements. I have no liquid. You know that.
So, sir, you testified also that you do most of or much of your work on a barter system, correct?
Correct.
And you also testified that on your tax returns, you show a loss virtually every year. Is that right?
Correct. Being a self.
No. I'm not looking for an explanation. That's
Okay.
correct. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you also invested in some investment real estate about 3 years ago with a partner, correct?
2 years ago, yes.
And your goal, I believe you testified, your goal is to pay no taxes. That was page 39, line 17 through 25. Do you recall that?
Yeah. Who wants to pay taxes?
You claim that you work 24/7, right, sir?
Sarcastically, yes.
Okay, your testimony then now is that despite your repeated testimony 4/7, that was sarcastic testimony. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because obviously nobody can work 24 hours straight in a day without dying, because you only make it about 3 days or 2
Did
days.
you recently invest in a Jersey Mike's restaurant?
I did. I don't know if you would say yes.
You testified that you work 5 to 6 days a week.
It's yes. Well, it's down to 4.
I'm going to just ask you to answer yes or no.
No, it's 4.
Well, you testified that you work 5 to 6 days a week on page 11 of the deposition.
Yes, and it's changed, and now it's 4.
I'm not asking whether it changed, sir. I'm asking what your deposition testimony was.
Yes.
And your deposition was taken just recently, June 30th of this year, right?
2 months ago, yes.
And you are now a 47% owner of this national franchise restaurant. Is that right?
45%.
And you have some partners in that business?
Partners.
And you're paid a salary of $30,000
Correct.
plus profit sharing?
Yeah, whenever that happens.
think you testified that you work on Saturdays basically all day, sometimes late into the night, doing excavating work.
Yeah, I may have said that, yes.
You also recently purchased air conditioning units for resale.
Correct.
Wow.
Where'd you get the money to purchase those?
Oh, I actually did some excavation this spring that allowed me to get ahead, and that's
I
the
believe
money.
you testified also that you got a bank loan in order to buy the investment real estate, and that you represented your income was $100,000 a year. Is that
Oh,
right, sir?
yeah, yes. Yeah, the personal loan was to cover.
I'm going to ask that you not testify at this point. I'm not asking you to explain this.
All right, keep going.
You testified in the deposition that you don't care if Lonnie's stepfather is her best friend. You don't want to hear his name around your house, correct?
Yes, I said that.
I asked you on page 102, line 13, you were telling Lonnie not to say Adam's name around your house. And your answer was, yeah, exactly. We don't talk about him. I don't care. I don't care if he's your best friend. We're not talking about him. I told her I don't care. And Casey says, well, that is mean and rude. And I was like, I don't give a fuck, to be honest, you know? And it's like, if we are in the same house, she can tell me what they do or whatever, but I'm not going to hear stories about her and Adam and this and that and all this other shit. I don't care. And I asked you then, why not hear stories? And your answer is, I don't care because I don't care. Because I would rather end up having to do some of those things. And you go on. I believe I asked you, is there any way you can get over your hurt feelings and listen to your daughter as she tells you about her life? And do you remember what your answer was?
No.
It was essentially, no, I can't. I'm not going to do that. I don't care. What do you say? I don't give a fuck about that whole part of her life. This is page 104, line 4. I don't give a fuck about that whole part of her life. I don't care about her mother and what they do together. I don't care what her and her stepmother do together. I don't give a fuck if they go to Fuji, Fiji, Hawaii, Jamaica. I don't care. Is that your testimony, sir?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're adamant about it. You really don't care. You don't want to hear about her life.
Is that your opinion?
I'm asking you, is that how you feel?
No.
Were you lying in your deposition?
No, you're just taking things out of context. We wouldn't be sitting here today if
Sir, I'm not asking, there's not a question. you testified in your deposition that you said to Lonnie or to my client, I'm not sure which, see you at graduation. Did you say something like that when you were dropping off her clothing and belongings at my client's house in June of 2022?
No, I didn't verbally say any of that. It was actually, I think, via text. And I had told her if I cannot see Lonnie and all that, she can have a good life and I'll see her when she's 18. Because the way that her mother.
Yeah, that's. I'm not asking for an explanation as to
Okay.
why. That's what you said. That's
Next
your
question.
testimony.
Next question.
And you also testified on page 85 that you don't regret or think it was a bad decision to drop Lonnie's clothing at Casey's house. You don't have any second guess about what you did that day, do you?
No, either it was I return everything or I throw it in the trash because the clothes.
I'm not asking for an explanation, sir.
Okay.
You don't think it was a bad decision. That was your deposition testimony.
Yep.
You testified on page 84 that the best gift you could give to Lonnie was not showing up at her birthday party because you would have been an asshole. That's page 84 of your deposition. Do you recall testifying to that?
I sure do. We had talked about that.
Page 84, line 1. I asked you, what did you mean when you said best gift to Lonnie was not showing up? What is that? Was the question, and your answer. And you said, that's right. And you would have ruined the party. And I essentially what you were saying, I believe, is that you didn't show up at her birthday party because you wouldn't be able to control your urge to be an asshole. Is that right?
Correct.
Here's you use the word fuck 35 times. Fucking 35 times, fuck 37 times, cunt 8 times, whore 8 times, and bitch 12 times in your deposition, your sworn testimony. Does that shock you at all to hear those kinds of numbers
No,
relative to your testimony?
no, I told you that that's basically how I talk.
And you talk that way around Lonnie also, don't you?
No, not entirely. Sometimes it does come out, but no. If I'm in school or if I'm around kids.
I'm not asking for an explanation, sir.
Okay, then ask me another question.
You don't know the name of Lonnie's preschool and her kindergarten, correct?
Correct. I was never allowed or invited.
Sir, it's a yes or no.
But yeah, I don't know it.
You don't know the name of her doctor either, do you?
Never allowed. Nope.
And I believe you essentially testified you don't want to know about her school because you don't like the liberal bullshit that you perceive to be ongoing at her school. Is that about right?
Basically, yes.
You've never been to a doctor visit, correct?
Never allowed, never invited. Not even when she was pregnant.
You've never called Lonnie one
Lie.
time
Wrong.
since she's been born.
Wrong.
When she's at my client's house, you've never called one time, correct?
Wrong. Lie. It's wrong and it's a
You went
lie.
on a family vacation to Florida about a year ago. Do you recall that?
I do.
You went with your parents, do you recall?
I do.
And on the way to meet my client and Lonnie, you got in an argument with your parents, correct?
Yep.
And you showed up late at the meeting place, the aquarium, correct?
Correct.
And you had gotten mad and you punched the TV in your parents' van, correct?
Correct.
You broke the TV.
Correct.
And you testified on page 105, beginning at line 17, after being asked about punching the TV, you said they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't fucking listen. They were going for 2 hours in the wrong direction. Can't get out of the vehicle. We are all screaming at each other. And so basically I was like, if you don't fucking listen, I'm punching this TV. Did it stop them, you asked? No. Break the TV. Oh, then they'll listen to me. This is you testifying. You're going in the wrong direction for 2 hours. I told you, you are going to be late and Casey is going to be a bitch and it is going to ruin this whole fucking vacation. That was your testimony describing the events inside your parents' van on a family vacation in Florida about a year ago. Is that right?
Correct.
Is it fair to say your parents were not very happy about you breaking the TV in the van?
They really didn't care. Yeah. Ask me another question before I ramble on.
You finally did make it to the aquarium, right?
We did.
And then at the aquarium, you got upset with Casey, right?
I don't know. I guess where you're going with it. I don't know.
Well, I asked you on page 106.
Sure. Yeah. I don't have the page 106 or 110 or whatever in front of me. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I can get it in front of you if you'd like to look at it.
What's that?
I say, if you'd like to look at it, I'll bring it up and share it on the screen right now.
No. Fine. Don't waste your time.
Page 106. I indicated in a question that you had sexually harassed Casey when you arrived at the aquarium by making comments about her breasts. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And your answer was at line 6, because her nipples were hanging out. She was walking out with her fucking, half her fucking tit poking through the shirt. Yeah, you say. I asked you, what did Lonnie think of that comment? You said, I don't know. She wasn't close. You were upset with the way Casey was dressed that day. Is that right?
No, I just thought it was trash.
I'm sorry, what was the testimony?
I said no, I just thought it was trashy.
And it upset you, correct?
I mean, I didn't care. I just thought, I thought it was out of context. I don't know.
And then you flicked her breast or her nipple with your hand, right?
With my finger, yeah.
Why did you do that?
Because I said, what's this about? Or whatever. Because I don't know. just thought that it was odd to see, I don't know, her nipples and shit hanging out of her shirt that day. I don't know why he did it. It was because I don't know, we have a kid together, and I thought it was just to, like, I don't know, lighten the mood or just mess around. I don't know.
You thought that
whole
flicking
intention-
her breast or her nipple with your finger would lighten the mood? Is that your testimony?
No, I did it because I thought it was out of context for her to be there braless, and I was basically like saying, like, what's up with this? Like, I don't know. I guess friendly. I don't know.
That's your way of being friendly with Kate.
Well, no. Yeah, sure.
You sent text messages to Casey not too long ago, basically indicating you're still infatuated with her, correct?
Yeah, I had.
And that
No.
you are having a difficult time getting over the resentment you feel for her leaving the relationship, correct?
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah, just because now. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, is your testimony that is correct?
Sure.
You texted her about the resentment you feel.
Yep.
You don't value college education much, do you?
I think college education is for people that don't know, I guess, how to be self-sufficient, or if it's for a degree where it's needed just to get a
You
job.
testified at page 35 that colleges are for
idiots.
idiots.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
That's how you feel, right?
Correct.
Ah,
Unless you're required to have a piece of paper stating a degree.
I told y'all manosphere, right? Now college is not sufficient. It's for dummies, idiots, and listen. That's what these men come up with, y'all. Okay, this is what comes out of their mouths. Okay, and it is quite ridiculous. That's a fact. Okay, it is quite ridiculous. I do want that. I want that. And I think I want that too. Ooh, okay, here we go.
I feel like it's a waste of money, and it's a coup to keep people in poverty. Because if you have $100,000 degree and you're working at Walgreens as a cashier, you just wasted a bunch of money, and you're an idiot for doing so.
You probably won't encourage Lonnie to go to college, correct?
Wrong. If she wants to go into medical field, which I was into the medical, or if she goes into a trade school or
And
anything
you said
like
you were into the medical. What you mean, the medical marijuana? Is that what you mean?
No, I was an EMT and I was a firefighter, and I almost died, and I basically was too disabled to be a volunteer firefighter. I was going to be a paramedic. I went to art school.
He was gonna be everything. Look, he was gonna be a firefighter, a paramedic. He was everything he was gonna be, but all he ended up being was a medical marijuana dealer. Damn. Woo, baby. This hour went by fast, y'all. This is almost over. We're gonna do, damn, that was a whole hour.
Yeah. I've done other schooling other than high school. I've done trade stuff. I don't think it's dumb. I just think you're an idiot if you go and get 3 minors and you don't get a degree. for something that you're going to use.
Your Honor, I'd move for admission of the deposition dated June 30 of Mr. Trevor. And I believe the court has the original there.
Mr. Trevor, is there any objection?
To what? I'm sorry.
He's asking to admit the deposition transcript as an exhibit.
Don't know what that means.
Well, he's asking to admit it as an exhibit in this case. Do you object to that, or do you not object?
I don't know, whatever that gets this done faster. I don't care.
Sir, I
Allow
just
it.
need an answer. I just need an answer.
Yes, no, I don't know. Just whatever to proceed. I don't care.
All right, I need you to give an answer.
Object. I don't know.
Okay.
Object.
So, Mr. Saffel, I know you were able to use portions of the transcript to either impeach the witness or address his statement. So, given his objection, I'm not going to admit the entire transcript. You were able to get testimony in as far as some of the key issues in that hearing and that testimony, so all that is in the record, but I'm not going to admit the entire transcript as an exhibit.
I understand. Thank you, Your Honor.
Why I need that.
Okay. Your Honor, if I could have just a moment, I'm going to try to make sure I can screen share some documents.
Sure.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
Yes, that's fine. All right, let's take a 5-minute break for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see if we can go to the second one. Okay, let's see if we can find the second one. I gotta make this big. Uh-oh. Let's see. Doo-doo. 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 Oh no, that's wrong. Doo-doo. Doo. Here is part 2. I haven't seen any of part 2. It says this is part 2 of the lengthy evidentiary hearing with the father who has motioned the court to resume his parenting time unsupervised, despite the fact that he went to jail for DV and the fact that he says the most horrible slurs to women in front of his daughter. He continued to be arrogant and dismissive when he testifies. Okay, we go.
All right, Mr. Saffel, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, the court will go back on the record then. And you may proceed.
Mr. Trevor, you have another child in addition to Lonnie, correct?
Correct.
And that child is how old?
13.
And he lives with his mother, is that right?
Correct.
And you testified in your deposition about how often you see him, correct?
Correct.
And I believe your testimony at page 6 was that you see him a couple times a month. but that you don't have overnights with him. Is that right?
Correct.
But I didn't ask for an explanation. Is that correct?
Correct. Keep going then. Stop pausing.
There was a period of time for several years when you didn't see that child at all. Is that right?
Yeah, was a few years where I had not. I had lived out of town.
And you also testified that you don't have any particular schedule. You often see that child on Sunday afternoon, or you go to a sporting event for that your child might be attending. Is that right?
Correct. We do the sporting events. We do like
That's okay, sir. That I'm not asking for an explanation. I just wanted to know if that was correct.
Yeah.
Alcohol leads to a lot of problems for you, doesn't it?
I mean, only issues I've ever had in life have involved alcohol or women. So, yeah, either one.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, something that was sent to you last week. Do you have that in front of you?
Who?
I'm asking you, Mr. Trevor,
I
to
do
look
not.
at one of the exhibits that I sent you prior to this hearing. It's called Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, and it's a text message exchange between you and Casey. Do you see that?
No, I'm not looking at it.
Can you get it in your possession?
I mean, if it's on email, I can probably pull it up.
Well, maybe I can do a screen share. I can try to do that now. Let me see if I can.
Last thing I
Are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen now that says Plaintiff's Exhibit 2?
no.
Well, Your Honor, is the court able to see the screen share?
I am not, no.
Let's see.
All right, now I can.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so now, sir, can you see what's marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 at the bottom of the page? Are you able to see this, sir? Mr. Trevor?
Mr. Trevor, you are muted right now. If you could please unmute.
Yeah, I see him.
Okay, so is this an email that you sent to Casey? And that would have been in April of 2022. I'll help you understand. At the top, it says, well, I just plan on not seeing her till she can drive. Fuck you and your everyone else. And 'cause my stupid sister talks to ya another dumb cunt, best gift for Lonnie with me not showing up. Should have done that the first sup or something. Is that your writing, sir?
Mr. Trevor, somehow you got muted again. If you could please unmute.
Yes.
Okay. And that's an email or a text message you sent to Casey Atkinson in April of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Do you ordinarily refer to your sister as a dumb cunt?
No,
Why did you do it there?
because I was upset.
Is this how you talk when you get upset?
Not entirely.
When you said, we'll just plan on seeing her when she can drive.
Because I knew that I wouldn't have any way of seeing her because of Casey basically withholding her. So I figured when she's 16, she can come on her own and I can see her then.
Okay. So I want to move to the next one now. Let's see. That would be it's here. Okay. So, sir, can you see Plaintiff's Exhibit 3 in front of you now? Mr. Trevor?
All right, you got muted again, sir.
Yeah.
And is this a text message that you sent to Casey Atkinson? And that would have been in June 2022?
Yeah.
So this is you writing, I believe, new black car, new stepdaddy. Sounds like you're doing great. You're going to start letting me have Lonnie and stop being such an asshole. She said, have you gotten help? Have you changed at all? The answer is no, very clear. I expect, and this is blocked out, but I expected that. I don't need help with anything you say. I just don't trust people, plain and simple. Just because you don't like how I feel about you doesn't mean I need any help. I hate myself just as much as you for everything. So it's equal. What were you trying to communicate there?
On the hate part or what?
Well, how about I don't trust people? What's that mean?
Just like a lawyer, I don't trust him to do anything except look out for his dollar.
How about I don't need any help with anything? What does that mean?
She's talking about therapy, and I don't need to talk to a therapist, and I don't need a person that sees or has been seeing a therapist for multiple years try and diagnose me that doesn't have a degree in mental health.
What do you mean when you say I hate myself?
Because if I never had to deal with Casey, and if I never would have, I guess, had tried to commit to anything, I never would have moved up, and Lonnie wouldn't have been conceived, and we wouldn't be talking over Zoom right now.
I knew he was gonna say. He was gonna say I wouldn't have been a dad. He just says whatever comes to his mind. This motherfucker said, and Lonnie wouldn't have been born. Woo, baby, talking about the enemy, your own enemy.
So I feel like just as big of an idiot for knocking her up as I do for everything else. Just as much as I hate her being a part of the situation, I hate that I had to be irresponsible in the situation.
I'm going to move on to plaintiff's exhibit 4. Oh, well, Your Honor, I'd move for admission of plaintiff's exhibit 2 and 3.
Okay. Mr. Trevor, any objection to the admission of those exhibits?
Um,
All right, so Mr. Trevor, you can't wear a hat. I know it's you're not technically in court, but we do consider it to be a courtroom environment. And do you have any objection to the admission of these text messages?
no.
All right, so exhibits 2 and 3 will be admitted.
And so, sir, I have exhibit 4 up on the screen now. Are you able to see that? Looks like it's June 18. That would be 2022. It begins at the top. You know, if I told you how much I loved you, missed you, cared about you, it wouldn't change anything. Did you write that to Casey Atchison?
I did.
All it brings me is pain. I mean, I'm trying to rant or be
No.
mean.
And
I don't know what RN means. What's that
right
mean?
now,
Oh, right now. Just telling you how you make me feel, I guess, only helps temporarily. You're just the only one I've ever trusted. What does that mean?
well, other than my son's mother, she's one of the only people
No,
that
I'm asking you, what does your comment about?
I'm explaining it to you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So anyways, other than maybe Joey's mother and Casey, one of the two only people that I was, I guess, I had fully entrusted and I don't know, I guess let my guard down with.
I just wish I knew how to get rid of all the resentment. What's the resentment you're talking about?
Of leaving my job downstate and coming up and committing to being with Casey.
Which resulted in the birth of Lonnie, correct? Father's Day seems like a joke. I don't feel like a great or good dad. If I was, then you'd probably never have left. Probably never left. Things just aren't the same without you with us. What do you mean by that?
Well, things are not, I guess they weren't whole without Casey there, you know, as I guess in a family setting.
You only dated Casey for 4 months, correct?
God
Yeah, we were
damn.
together for, roughly 4.5 months, maybe
Oh,
maybe a little bit
shit.
longer.
You're not involved in any other romantic relationship now, are you?
No.
4 months?
I'd move for admission of plaintiff's exhibit 4, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Trevor?
No.
All right.
This dude only dated her for 4 months. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Do not have children with people you don't really know. Okay? Ensure you don't get pregnant. This woman gonna have a lifetime of problems. 4 months yield 18 plus years of problems. The child's only 4 years old. So 4 or 5 years ago, she was with a man for 4 months, ended up getting pregnant, and here she is, 4 years later, still fighting him. He never paid child support. He keeps hitting her up, talking about how he love her, but they only been together for 4 months. They've been away from each other longer than they've been together. Wow.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 4 is admitted.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 5 is up on the screen now, and that appears to be a text message between you and Casey dated June of 2022. Casey saying she wrote a letter to your parents and informed them that she sent very clear boundaries and that they were crossed. And you responded saying, tell her to have a good life. Who is her?
Her would be Lonnie.
Dad will see her when she is, I guess you meant to write older, right?
Correct.
Don't have times for your game, therapy, BS. What's BS? What's that mean?
Therapy bullshit. That's her talking to me, telling me I need to go see a therapist. Just because she sees one 3 days a week or whatever, it does not imply that because it works for her or she thinks it works for her, that I personally don't. I think it's a placebo.
Now you're saying to Casey here that you should go ask her, I guess that means Lonnie, what toys she wants from the house. I'm going to get rid of everything. By the time she's back, she'll be in other stuff. You are hurting her more than me. Remember, this one's on you. This is what you wrote to Casey in June of last year, correct?
Correct. This is after the Father's Day incident.
And you're essentially saying that you're not going to see Lonnie anymore, correct?
What I'm saying is...
Is that right, sir? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Are you saying that you'll see her when she's older?
Correct.
I'm going to move for admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 5.
Okay. Mr. Trevor, any objection?
No.
We'll admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 5.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 6 is up on the screen. It starts by saying, it's all bullshit. Let me see if I can minimize this. There we go. And I think Casey said, I wouldn't come over if I were you, just saying. And then you say, dumbass BS, calm down, getting upset doesn't solve anything. Then you say, getting rid of her wheels and tires I've been holding on to, and all Lonnie's shit that I don't need anymore, since she's not welcome at my home. And then there's something saying, don't mean to call. And then I think you say, dumbass, always said, oh, I'll never get married again and shit. Should have never moved up here for her and never would have had to deal with Lonnie shit or anything. I'd been better off knocking up a junkie. Every woman, just another dumb whore these days. Sad. Is that how you feel about women?
Yep.
Today's generation, yes.
Loading her tires now, so you're grabbing tires and trash bags, and the trash bags had Lonnie's belongings in it, right?
Correct.
And here's a picture of the stuff you're bringing, the tires, the toys, I guess, in the back of a truck. Is that right?
That's actually a trailer, yes.
And then you text her saying, shit's here. I don't know why you're all hiding. Why'd you say you're all hiding?
Because I could see him upstairs in the window. And I thought, Why?
And Casey said, we're not hiding. We just don't want to deal with this situation you're going through. You say, whatever, you dumb whores. I'll see Lonnie at graduation. Casey says, I'll let her know. And you say, so fucking spineless. And then she says, so you are to do this. So are you to do this to your daughter and not following the rule, blocking you by. So that was the day that
was the day I dropped her things off in Traverse City, if that's what you're implying, yes.
okay. And I'm going to move for admission of Exhibit 6.
Mr. Trevor, any objection?
Who did you say that conversation was to?
I think that was with you and her mom. Is that right?
That is correct.
I'd move for admission of plaintiff's Exhibit 6.
Mr. Trevor, any objection?
No.
All right, thank you. The plaintiff's Exhibit 6 then is admitted.
Okay, Leslie, I need to get this off the screen now.
Back here. There you go.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to mute myself for just a moment.
Okay.
Fast forward, y'all.
It was your testimony in your deposition that you don't really trust your parents either, correct? You testified that you don't trust anyone, including your parents, because they lied to you when you were growing up. Is that right?
Yes, to an extent.
And I believe you also testified with regard to therapy that you wouldn't go to therapy even if the court ordered, correct?
I'm actually in therapy, in a men's group. So,
Okay. So I don't think we were talking about the men's group when that question was asked. Tell me about this men's group. How many appointments have you gone to?
I believe 4 or 5 already.
And do you do that from your home?
I do that via Zoom.
And is that with a group of other individuals who are also court ordered to do the men's group?
Correct.
How many individuals are typically attending at one time?
I believe roughly between 18 and 22.
Okay. And that is what you're referring to as participating in therapy, right?
Correct.
It's fair to say that you're not a big believer in the efficacy or the effectiveness of meeting with like a therapist, like a counselor.
A for-profit counselor? No. I don't believe anything that's done for profit is really beneficial. We'll
Do you believe that the child support system in the state of Michigan is a way of laundering money by the state? Is that right?
Correct.
And you referred to the child support people as those motherfuckers, correct?
Correct. Yep, the whole government.
I don't have anything further, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Trevor, you have a chance now to provide additional testimony if you want, based on the questions that were asked of you by counsel.
I don't even know where to start.
That's why you need a lawyer, dumbass.
I don't know. See, this is why I can't answer questions, because everything that was mentioned, I don't know what order or
You
what
should
was
have wrote it
asked,
down,
so
dumbass.
I cannot come back and rebuke anything that was asked.
Okay, so you have no additional testimony?
Yeah, I mean, I can keep you here for 5 minutes, but if I got to think of something, I don't know.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't have any additional testimony.
I do, but I can't think of anything at this time.
All right, well, this is your time, so if you want to have any additional testimony based on the questions you just asked, you can do so. You're not required to, but you can.
I know, but I can't think of any of the questions that.
So we see the difference between the last one that I showed a couple of days ago, where neither one of them had a lawyer. And remember, I had mentioned that if one of them had had a lawyer, things would have went differently. Even if she was the one with the lawyer, she probably wouldn't have lost them kids, because the lawyer would have known what to ask her and what to ask him. She may have even gotten spousal support. Or in the reverse, if he had a lawyer, he probably would have got all those kids, all 4 of those kids. And so now we in this situation with one of them do have a lawyer, and the lawyer knows exactly what to ask and who to ask. He also knows what not to ask his client, right? He knows what not to ask his client. And even if this guy asks his client something, he gonna know whether it's relevant or not. So he'll say, Your Honor, that's not relevant, right? He'll know when to chime in. And if he asks her something and she admits to something, the lawyer will know to come back and have her clarify it, clear it up. So that's the need of a lawyer. Now, if you don't have a lawyer, then you need to just learn a few things about the court. Know what hearsay means. Know when it's your turn. Know to take notes so you can rebuke if somebody says something that you disagree. Like this dude should have been taking notes. Okay? They're not going to sit here all day while he think. No. He better ask a question.
It was mentioned, or any of the depositions that were questioned.
All right. Do you have any other witnesses you wish to call?
No, because I didn't know that it was on today, so I don't have anything prepared.
All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Saffel, do you wish to call any witnesses?
Yes, I would call my client, Casey Atkins.
Thank you. Ms. Atkins, if you would please unmute and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Please state your name for the record and spell your last name.
Casey Atchison, Atchison.
Thank you. Mr. Saffel, you may proceed.
Okay. Casey, where do you live?
Traverse City.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a cosmetologist.
And where do you work?
I am self-employed and rent a chair at the Hair Co. in Traverse City, Michigan.
And how long have you been doing that job?
I've been recently at this job for a couple months, but I've been doing hair for about 14 years.
Okay. And who do you live with in your home?
My husband, Adam Moose, and my daughter, Lonnie Atchison.
Husband. Ooh.
Okay. And how old is Lonnie?
5.
And where does she go to school?
In Traverse City, Michigan.
And did she go to a preschool?
Yes, she went to Courtaid for preschool as well.
Okay. And how's she doing in school?
Really good.
And what kind of child is she? What kind of person is she?
She
Let me say
is.
this. What kind of activities does she participate in?
We've done a lot of activities. Some she loves more than others, but we've tried gymnastics. We've done swim. She is in soccer, which she loves and she's so good at. And she's also been in dance.
Okay. And who's her doctor?
Dr. Bush in Traverse City.
Okay. And is she healthy?
Yes.
And there was a testimony earlier from Mr. Trevor about doctor's appointments. Has he ever attended a doctor's appointment?
No.
Have you tried to prohibit him from attending a doctor's appointment?
No.
Has he ever gone to her school for any reason to participate?
No.
Court aid?
No.
Has he ever asked to go to the school and participate? Have you tried to block him from attending school events or any other activities regarding money? I'm sorry, was that a no?
No, sorry.
Okay. Okay. What does your husband do for a living?
He owns a landscaping company called Moose Landscaping in Traverse City, Michigan.
Okay. And how long have you been married?
We've been married. On Monday, it will be a year.
And do you own your own home?
Yes.
And do you believe that you have a permanent, stable environment for Lonnie?
I do.
Is your relationship with Mr. Moose strong?
Yes.
Do you have any plans to move out of your present location?
No, we do not.
Did you recently buy this home?
We did.
And you read Mr. Trevor's deposition and heard his testimony today. Describe how it is that he talks around you when you meet with him and when you talk to him in terms of use of profanity.
I would feel like that's the way that he speaks. Profanity and speaking sexually and outrageously is something that is pretty consistent with Joe. It's not something that I see that changes, but if he gets angry, of course, if something tips him off or gets him upset, it will get more aggressive.
Does he speak in a profane way in front of Lonnie?
Yes.
Does he do that regularly?
I would say that in my experience, yes, it has been pretty regularly.
And how do you feel about him doing that?
I don't like it and I tell him to stop.
And what's he say to you?
Usually no, or he'll laugh about it.
At the restaurant in December of 2022, did he yell in Lonnie's face?
Yes.
And what was he saying to Lonnie about her stepfather?
He screamed in her face, "Your stepdad's a fucking faggot, little fucking bitch, faggot," over and over. And she was trying to plead her case against him and say, "No, he's not. He's strong." And she was defending her stepfather, and he didn't like that.
Did Lonnie make a comment to Mr. Trevor about your husband being strong or stronger or something like that?
She said that he was strong. Lonnie and my husband, we all will work out together and lift weights. My husband's pretty active in the gym. So Lonnie was trying to tell her dad about the weights that she'd been lifting and how she'd been working out with Adam, and he was strong.
And how did Mr. Trevor respond to that?
Very poorly. He started screaming in her face.
And did that upset her?
Yes,
Was he drinking? Was Mr. Trevor drinking at the time?
he was.
Did the waitress have to cut him off?
Yes, because they only will serve a 3 limit of that particular beer. It's the strongest beer in the restaurant.
Was he making a scene in the restaurant?
Yes,
And what did he call the waitress?
a cunt.
And when it came down to time to tip and pay the bill, what did he write on the bill?
You can fuck right off.
Say it again.
You can fuck right off.
Okay. And then when you left the restaurant, what happened in the outside?
I put Lonnie in her car seat and I got out of the doorway so he could say goodbye to her. And I walked around the car. I got in the driver's seat while he was continuing to say goodbye to Lonnie, standing outside of the vehicle. And he had asked if we would go to the store with him. And I told him that I did not want to go to the store with him and that it was time for us to go home. He got upset. He asked why. And I told him it was because of the way he had been acting. And I didn't want him acting that way with Lonnie around. And the visit was done. He then tried to ask Lonnie, or I guess tell Lonnie, see, your mom doesn't even want you to go with me. She won't let me get you Christmas presents. And Lonnie said, I want to go home. I don't want to go with you. And then we had other conversation about custody and how he hasn't been able to see her. And I don't exactly remember the full conversation, but I do remember at the end of that conversation, I had said to Joey, I don't want you acting like this way around her. If you continue to act this way, she's not going to want to be around you. You're scaring her. She looks scared. And he said, you think I give a fuck? I don't fucking care about Lonnie. And at that point,
Did he say that in front of Lonnie?
yes.
And then what happened?
And then I asked him to get out of my vehicle after he had said that. He said no. And I said, Joey, I want you to get out of my vehicle right now, or else I'm going to call the cops. He said, call the cops. I'll fucking wait right here. So I went to turn to grab my phone, which was sitting in my lap. And I went to open the phone to call the cops. And I had noticed him flying past Lonnie over top her in her car seat at me. He had smashed my head into the window and he was clawing at my hands, trying to get my phone from my hands. Lonnie was hitting him in the back, and I just kept hearing her say over and over, stop hitting my mommy, leave my mommy alone, get off my mommy. He finally retrieved the phone from my hands after I screamed help numerous times to try to get somebody's attention. He grabbed the phone from my hand. He removed himself out of my vehicle, still standing in her open doorway. He smashed my phone on the ground. He picked up my phone. He chucked it past our daughter in the car seat with broken glass falling out of it at me in the front seat. And then he had slammed the door of her, where her car seat was in the back seat. He slammed the door and I locked the doors and I drove straight to the police station.
Okay. I imagine that was a traumatic event for you.
Yes.
And as a result of that incident, did you obtain a personal protection order against him?
I did.
Are you afraid of him?
Yes.
Does he treat you in a sort of a sexualized way during these exchanges with Lonnie?
When we were doing exchanges, yes.
What are some of the things he did?
I feel like every time that we did an exchange, I feel like it probably was less times that he didn't do it, would make comments about my butt or my boobs, and he would grab my boobs, he would grab my butt. I remember one time very clearly, he had smacked my ass and I said, "Don't touch me." And he smacked my ass again. And Lonnie was, I want to say, 3 years old at this time. And she had said, "Don't touch my mom like that." I remember one time I was dropping Lonnie off and she was sad to see me go. And he had said to her, "Your mom doesn't want to be here. She wants to go get, or your mom doesn't want you. She wants to go get dicked down."
To go get dicked down.
Yes,
Does that mean have intercourse or something?
I would assume so.
And he said that in front of Lonnie?
Yes,
Did he say that to Lonnie?
yes.
Was there another incident where he was using an umbrella in some way?
Yes, Halloween of 2021. I had invited Joe to come trick-or-treating with me, my really good friend Allie and Lonnie, and we had met at Barrio in Traverse City, Michigan. That experience, he had made a threat to Lonnie because she wasn't eating her food. Before we had even went trick-or-treating, he had told her, "If you don't eat your fucking food, I'm going to beat your ass so fucking hard, you're not going to walk for days." He said this in front of myself, he said it to Lonnie, and he said it in front of my friend Allie. We went out and we walked downtown in Traverse City. He kept taking an umbrella and shoving it in between my legs from behind me and kept rubbing me. I asked him to stop numerous times and he laughed about it. He did not spend or seem concerned about being there with Lonnie at all. He was just following me around, touching me and talking to me every chance he could get.
You have a belief that he still wants a relationship with you or is somehow infatuated with you?
I do believe that that is true. I believe now that maybe that's a little outdone by hate towards me and wishing me death.
He testified about punching a TV in Florida in a car with his parents. What was your experience regarding that incident?
So I had tried to plan a trip around the time that his parents would be in Florida so he could come down there and we would be there at the same time so we both would get a spring break vacation with Lonnie. I had made all the plans and he kept saying, "Okay, I'll let you know, I'll let you know, I'll let you know." Anyways, we were down there, we were having a great time. He finally says last second, about 3 days before we were planning on heading back home, that he was buying a plane ticket and he was then going to come down. He asked if he could come get her. I said, "There's not enough time now because you waited too long and didn't plan accordingly. But would you like to meet us at the aquarium in Tampa?" He agreed that him and his parents would meet us at the aquarium. Throughout the day, he was texting me. I feel like the day started with him being excited to come to the aquarium and see me and see Lonnie. And somewhere along the way, I think his parents had gotten lost or misunderstood directions. Joe was texting me about how upset he was and using very foul language. He stated to me in those texts that he punched the TV and broke it because they wouldn't listen to him. He claimed that his mother tried jumping out of the moving vehicle because it had gotten so chaotic in the car. When he finally did get to the aquarium, he was about, I want to say maybe an hour late from the time he started. He was upset because I was in the bathroom with Lonnie and he could not find me. And I wasn't answering the phone because I was helping our daughter go to the bathroom. Finally, he found me and just started screaming in my face instantly while I was holding Lonnie because he couldn't find me. And I guess he just felt that he would take his frustrations out on me because of his day gone wrong. His parents seemed unbothered by all of that. And throughout the day, he had made comments about seeing my boobs through my shirt. I was wearing a t-shirt. Nothing was hanging out. I don't think I even own anything that anything hangs out of, but we were in Florida and I was probably wearing a loose t-shirt and maybe not wearing a bra. I'm not sure, but I was not wearing anything super exposing at all. And he kept flicking my boob, making comments about it to the point where my friend had even told him, like, why do you talk like that? That's so disgusting. Like, she asked you to stop talking like that, quit touching her like that. And he basically said, I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever I want. We had, like he said in his statement, we had a kid together. So he has, I guess maybe he assumes that he has that authority over me, that he can touch me and do whatever he wants to me because I did bear our child.
Are you concerned about the way he treats women generally?
Absolutely.
And does that concern you with regard to how he treats Lonnie?
This is so sad, yo. And the thing is, he told this story first, remember? He told some about, and I didn't understand what the hell he was talking about because I didn't hear him mention that she was there or that he mentioned his parents. And I was like, oh, what the hell? But, and then he didn't want to mention how she was dressed. I guess that's why he mentioned the story. Talking about her boobs were out. She said she had on a t-shirt. And she went on a vacation and tried to include him so he can see his daughter, but it sounds like he's just interested in her. You know how sometimes, ladies, you end up dating somebody and it's the biggest mistake of your motherfucking life, but you done got pregnant for his ass, so you got to deal with him? I ain't never had that happen, but listen, you got pregnant for his ass and you wonder now that you're an adult, what the fuck was you thinking when you was younger? That's what's happening a lot in our society when we're young, right? When you're younger, listen, have all the fun you want, but please don't have no babies. Babies shouldn't come out of fun. Babies should come out of love and respect. Okay? Don't have no fun babies. Don't have no fun babies with no niggas you just having fun with. Or no women that you just having fun with. Okay? I'm telling you, this woman, she going through it. Okay? She's 5 years old. Now imagine her. I don't know how old she is, right? She looked young. She looked like she probably early 30s, if that. But 5 years ago, she was, let's say she was 22, 23, 24, right? She was a young woman having fun. And then she met this dude with this language, and it may have been like, wow, you know what I mean? Like he one of them dudes. Like he cussing his shit. She probably thought, wow, like he's different. But different is okay for a moment if you can handle it. Okay? Different is okay for a moment if you can handle it. So some people might say, well, it's her fault. He probably was like that already. He probably was. And she probably thought it was fascinating, a little different. And the messed up part is that she had a baby by that nigga. Okay? That's the fucked up part. But I don't even want to say that because that suggests that I'm saying that the baby is a mistake, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this. Be careful, ladies and gentlemen, on who you having fun with, and make sure that you do it the correct way. That's all I'm saying. Cause she, oh Lord, I'm quite sure this dude been like this even when she met him. Just like she said, yeah, that's the way he speaks, you know. But she says when he get mad, it gets worse. She probably realized, okay, this is not what I want. It was good for a minute. It was good for 2-3 weeks. But by the fourth week or the fourth month, she was out of there. And it's unfortunate that she was already pregnant. For him, anyway. Here we go.
You've asked him to get some counseling, and he's been unreceptive to that. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
His ass
Has he ever
disappeared.
tried to call Lonnie?
No.
Not once, not ever since she's born.
No, the only time I remember him calling was when he decided not to come to her birthday party last April. Or not last April, so April of 2022. He decided not to come to her birthday party, so he asked if he could call her that morning. And that is the only time I ever remember Joe ever trying to call Lonnie.
So he doesn't call to say good night, I love you, or anything like that. He just doesn't do that.
No.
How about gifts or cards? Does he ever send her cards to your home?
He's never sent a gift or a card to our home.
Has he been consistently late on child support?
Yes.
Did he provide any financial support to you with child care expenses?
No.
Did he provide any prenatal financial support to you prior to Lonnie's birth?
No.
Was there a period of time, I guess it was about a year ago, where he was asking how he could sign off on his rights?
Yes.
And what was that about?
He had texted me and out of the blue randomly one day, and he said, "What are your thoughts on me signing over my rights or signing off my rights?" And I believe I said, "Sure, if that's what you would like to do." And after that, he did state that he would like to keep everything the same as far as when he would see her, and that he would have to just put all of his trust in me, that I would continue to let him do that, but he was sick of dealing with the fucking front of the court.
Is that the language that he used?
Yes.
And why was he sick of the front of the court?
He just didn't want to have to deal with them or them be in his business at all.
And were there warrants issued since Lonnie's birth for him for failure to pay support?
I believe there's been several, yes.
So did he actually take steps to contact the friend of the court about signing off on his rights?
Yes, he went to the front of the court directly and spoke to the prosecutor, I believe. And I also called myself to see how we could make that happen.
And eventually, what did you learn from?
That is not possible unless there is somebody to adopt Lonnie.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Well,
We're gonna be clear. They ain't letting no man sign off unless another person is gonna pick that shit up. No man get to sign off so the government can take care of a child. Okay? I've heard these men say stupid shit like that all the time. Yeah, she won't let me sign off. Nigga, what you mean she won't let you sign off? Okay? If she get remarried, and if that person she remarried is okay with it and want to do it legally, adopt, then that's something different. He just wanted to use that shit against her. He don't really care about that baby at all. Okay? Like she said, he ain't called her. They don't have no kind of connection. He didn't even call her to say he would like to spend time with her. He just want to drag her in court. That's what this court is. This shit is crazy. Okay, so I'm a fast forward a little bit. Okay. To when he come back. So he about to come back, look like in 3 minutes.
Was he during parenting time exchanges generally timely?
No.
We know he a deadbeat.
Was he?
Okay.
It's still disabled.
He was there. He just
What has
disabled his
been your
camp.
experience for him participating in events in Lonnie's life?
As far as
Well, like gymnastics or swimming lessons or, school. I mean, I guess you already talked about that.
That nigga living in
yeah,
a trailer.
and he doesn't.
Not even a trailer, like a RV. I thought that's what that
Essex,
window
that I
was.
taken her to.
All right, that's again not an objection. So if you do have an objection, you would need to state so. But disagreeing with what her statement is not a valid objection.
But with regard to gifts for Lonnie at holidays, does he do that kind of thing?
I believe that for her birthdays, when we would throw a party together, that there would be one gift. As he stated before, he did for, I believe she was 3, and he bought her a big dirt bike.
A dirt bike.
Is this a motorized dirt bike?
Yes.
Like a little motorcycle for
Yes.
a child?
Yes. And that is what he decided to buy her.
But
And I just stated that obviously she doesn't even know how to ride a bike without training wheels yet, so I did not want her on the bike, but that is all he bought her.
Object.
What is your objection, sir?
I don't know, but that's it's a false statement, and it's not true.
All right. So again, that's because you
Okay.
disagree with the statement is not an objection. So you got to limit your objection to things that you can object for. Thank you.
Is Mr. Trevor forgetful?
Yes.
When he takes Lonnie,
But you're drunk.
what's your experience with regard to him actually being with her during parenting time?
In my experience and to my knowledge of what he has told me, she spends most of the days at his parents' house. He will usually pick her up in the evening, and they seem to attend church every other Sunday when he has her.
Does he report to you that he works a lot?
Yes.
Have you heard him use the 24/7 phrase?
Yes, I remember asking him numerous times to try to make more time for Lonnie, and use his time while he had her, and she would really enjoy that.
And did he, as far as you know, recently become a partner in a restaurant?
Yes.
And has that taken time away from other things for him?
I mean, I would imagine so. He was pretty busy before the restaurant with the excavation business, so I can only imagine that it's probably multiplied by a lot.
And did he leave the area for a number of months to do a training?
To my knowledge, yes.
Let me fast forward this.
He said, well, I think he had basically stated that it wouldn't work if she stayed at his parents' house, which is right down the road, because he wouldn't have enough time to get her ready in the morning to go to church. And I remember vaguely that I had probably said back to him that, she better not come back saying any crazy things again, coming from your house. And anyways, throughout the night, he had texted me again and apparently decided that she was staying, whether I wanted that to happen or not. And it was approximately 9:00 in the evening, and he had texted me that he was crying into a pillow as quiet as possibly so Lonnie did not hear him crying. Because
What are you crying about?
because I had left 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. So this is him saying that he still loves you or something like that. He still has this interest.
Yes.
Was he a pot grower at one time?
Yes.
And did you smell the marijuana on Lonnie when she came back from his house?
Every time.
Is he still doing it now?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we're gonna fast forward, y'all.
He loved yet. And after we had
She got a lot.
same underwear that she had left in
Ooh.
on Friday, he claimed that he washed them midway through the weekend, but they did not look that way to me. He would send her home and the clothes in her bag would not be washed most of the time. And there would be pee and poop stains all over them. Her hair would be matted. Her teeth would have gone unbrushed. You could see the plaque build up on her teeth. Yeah.
Do you have concerns about Mr. Trevor's moral fitness?
Yes.
And you testified earlier about the domestic violence incident and his use of profanity. Are there other concerns you have about his moral fitness to parent Lonnie?
I think that there is great concern with his view on women. I feel like that is a very important one because she's a little girl right now, but she will grow up to be a young woman one day. And his view on women and the way that he speaks of them, I think it could really hurt Lonnie in the long run. If he were to accidentally be alone with him, and you don't know if something is going to set him off.
Okay,
Relationship between you and Lonnie?
Yes.
Okay, I'm fast forwarding it.
Towards toward you?
Yes.
You believe that you've been psychologically abused by the things he said?
Yes.
Nevertheless, are you willing to try to create a relationship that can work between him and Lonnie?
That would be my hope. Yes.
Do you believe that his parenting time with Lonnie has to be supervised, at least initially?
Yes.
And is it your hope that he could work into more extensive parenting time with Lonnie?
Yes.
Is there something you'd like to see demonstrated by Mr. Trevor before he's just essentially turned loose
Psychological
to
help.
be an unsupervised parent with Lonnie?
I mean, the main things that I would like to see is that Lonnie is happy and she is healthy. As a mother, I just want to know that she's okay and that she is not going to be affected by his outrageous ways and how he acts. So if he could work on himself to not make this Lonnie's view and Lonnie's story, that would be terrific.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Trevor, do you have any questions for Ms. Atchison?
Uh-oh.
Um,
Come on.
yeah, I guess I do have a few. Did we or did we not have phone conversations before or after bath and book reading time when you were living in your apartment?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did we or did we not have phone conversations with Lonnie before and after bath and book time before bed?
I do not recall that, no.
Do you remember any of the things that Lonnie and I had made for you for Mother's Day or birthdays?
Yes, I do.
Did me and Lonnie make multiple paintings and do arts and crafts?
I wouldn't say that you did multiple, but I believe, yes, you guys did make a couple crafts and she brought them home.
Did we go to the pool and church every other that we had her?
No, you did not go to the pool every time to my knowledge, but yes, you did go to church every Sunday with her that you had her.
Did I not, the majority of the time, wash, fold, and repack her clothes to the pictures that you used to send me, other than maybe missing a pair of sweatpants or pair of socks? Or
You
jacket,
never-
the jacket.
I do not remember you ever washing her clothes.
Okay. Do you ever remember having an argument about the chair that my family had purchased Lonnie for her first birthday that had to stay with you because it was a gift for Lonnie and there had become a big issue over what was purchased for her?
I do remember the chair, and I do remember that your mom was upset that the chair was going to come to our house.
Do you remember making the statement saying that the clothes that were given to Lonnie were to go with her to Traverse City and that we were not to split them up between us? That the clothes that were there for her from the birthdays was her clothes and was to purchase her own clothes for my house?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay. All right. I guess that's about it. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any redirect, Mr. Saffel?
No, Your Honor.
And any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, Mr. Trevor, you do have the opportunity for some rebuttal testimony. I will give you that opportunity. So if based on the testimony of Ms. Atchison that was presented, if you have any rebuttal testimony, this would be the time that you could provide it. Remember that you do remain under oath. Do you have any additional testimony you want to make, sir?
Yeah, a few of the things, like report with Casey. I know this is minute, but when she her apartment did supply her with an air conditioning, no air conditioning in that
Your
apartment.
Honor, the audio broke up there, and I didn't hear it.
Okay. Can you repeat that, Mr. Trevor?
Yeah. In regards to, I guess, like monetary items, when Casey did move into her apartment in Traverse City, buy her with a portable air conditioning unit for the apartment because I thought that it was too warm for my daughter. And I had also installed and purchased a ceiling fan light combination and did that as well for them. So that's one thing.
You got to eat.
The
You mentioned one thing you did for him.
I guess I don't have anything else. I can't think of anything. I just wanted to get this over with.
You the one who brought this
All right,
forward,
thank you.
dude.
And Mr. Sapple, did you have any additional questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
He should have never brought this forward. She was
All
dealing
right.
with him.
What I'm going to do then, now that all the
She was dealing with him without the courts. And she was being very open, right? She just sat and met with him at a restaurant with the daughter just so he could have time. Now, she didn't leave him with him, unless, like, it sounds like when he did have the daughter, his parents was involved in that, you know, and the parents don't live too far from him or didn't at the time. But he's had his daughter without being supervised before, right? We hear this. He said it, she said it. Even like he's the one who said he's not going to see her again until she becomes older. She didn't say that. She didn't keep him from her daughter. He did. He got mad, and I think there was a blow up at a birthday party that he didn't show up at. And then after, I think something happened on Father's Day, and then he decided to text her and say, okay, I'm not going to deal with it no more. I'm going to bring some shit. He did that. She didn't do that. So he's the one who put the brakes on seeing his daughter. And then instead of reaching out to her, he goes to court. And now they about to hand his ass to him. He might, now they're going to be an actual law, not a law, but they're going to be something in the courts, an order. They're going to have, now you're going to have an actual order that she's going to have written where when he get time, it's going to be based on the court. The court is about to make decisions for these two adults. And this is his fault. Because this woman was very courteous. She's married and she still went to dinner so the daughter can have dinner with him. That's when he cussed her out and said that her stepdad was a fag. Sorry for saying that word, y'all, but that's what he said, okay? And wow. Okay, here we go. He did this to himself. And so I'm saying for you men who may have children with women, stop making it seem like all them women are keeping you from your children. You keeping you from your children. Just like this man, this woman wasn't keeping him from his child, but he acted like she was. Just because he can't get his way when he wanted and how he wanted. And he's not even interested in the child. He's interested in her. And that's what a lot of these women are saying. The men don't want to have nothing to do with the child unless she's a part of the deal. He want to be able to have his cake over there, right, with another woman, and then he want to be able to come and visit her and give her child support, however much he want to give her, as long as she's not with another man. That's what these men say. Oh, well, I'm not giving her child support. Let that man take care of you. And she thinking, nigga, you gave me $50 a week. $50 a week ain't paying shit. Not even in 1989 was $50 paying for shit. Shit. Rent was over, even in Louisiana where rent was that's one of the low areas for rent. Even in that area, rent was more than $50 a week. Then you got electric, water bill, depending on if she live in a house or apartment, she might have trash. So here we have electric, water, gas, right? Because of the way our housing is, we don't have trash. But we do, it's all in our home association fees, right? Then we talk about food. Shit, I haven't had my freezer filled up like I used to in a very long time. Meat is high as hell. You used to be able to buy a whole chicken for like $3-4. A whole chicken now, you look, you could go and get you a McDonald's meal for like $20-something, right? Get you some chicken fried already. It's damn near that to buy a whole chicken these days. Okay. And that's just for one day. These men out here want to be able to pay their $1.50 a week, $1.50 a day. So they on here crying fucking rivers, and nobody wants to flow and look at that fucking tears of that river of tears, nigga. Nobody cares. And what pisses me off when other men sit there knowing that these niggas are lying and talking about, yeah, me too. Nigga, shut the fuck up. You could barely eat, but just imagine your fucking child. Don't even care about these motherfucking children. Now I'm gonna put this link up while we get this, how this shit work out for this dumbass nigga. Dumb. And for the rest of you who think you're gonna go to court because you think it's gonna be simpler and easy. If that woman could prove that you ain't got nothing, you ain't talking to that child, you ain't caring whether that child eat or not, and all you care about is who she with. If she can prove one time that even if you was paying, but as soon as she started dating someone, you decided to no longer pay, any of that shit, any of those tactics that y'all be pulling. And today, y'all know it's easy to prove because y'all motherfuckers texting people. Y'all don't even believe in phone calls no more. Y'all believe in trails and evidence everywhere. See, my ass don't want to leave no evidence. I'm from old school. We gonna get on that phone. You can say what you gotta say to me. I'm gonna say what I say to you. And there ain't gonna be no record of it unless your ass or my ass decide to record it. But y'all asses like to leave evidence. You like to get on your phone angry and texting a motherfucker from your phone. What you gonna say? Somebody stole your phone and texted her that shit? Like the guy with the grape. Remember that video I played? When she said no, he texted me from his phone first. His anger got the best of him. He was threatening her from his phone. Okay? And then they think they real smart. Just because you done got another phone number, which we all know that happens today, all I got to do right now, I could go and get a new phone number. It won't, and it's free, right? And the courts know this. We all know this. But why would anybody else start threatening me over some shit dealing with what we got going on? So the court's not that dumb. They don't need to prove everything. It just needs to be more likely than not. Okay? We're not talking about no reasonable doubt where you go to court and 12 people are deciding, well, we don't know for sure. That's what these niggas say online. Yeah, well, but we don't know for sure. I'm like, God damn. Y'all don't not even gonna use reasoning. See, that's the word they don't never use on this bitch. Reasoning. Reasoning. You don't look at the facts and then you decide, well, could this person be doing this or not? Everything isn't, well, you got to prove it without a doubt. Okay? We know this nigga right here went up there and he was even on the courts, he was using certain words. So he can't deny it. He's not even denying. But I guess he think, well, I am fucked up, but I ain't denying that I'm fucked up, so the court should be okay with it. Well, I'm going to have to say no. Listen, you could be as fucked up as you want to be. but you're not supposed to spread that shit to the children. So you fucked up, and now you want your daughter to be fucked up. And then when she get older, all you gonna be on this bitch talking about how fucked up she is. Well, she got that shit from you. You ratchet ass motherfucking nigga. This motherfucker is just ratchet. I thought only black people were ratchet. I thought only black women and black men were ratchet. Man, I'm gonna be doing this probably throughout the rest of the year. Probably not every day, but I'm gonna be popping up some videos, and we're gonna see just how ratchet they is, right? My job is not to just focus on black people. But since we tend to believe, we like to use the word ratchet, and we like to attach those words to black people only. Well, we're gonna prove that that's not true. Okay, they got access to money. You see, this motherfucker just bought a $55,000 vehicle, brand new. Then on top of that, he had to put $5,000 down to get it, right? He paid $800 a month just for the vehicle. We're not even gonna talk about the insurance, right? He got money to do that, and he put money into a business, and he admitted that he hiding his money for tax purposes. She's probably gonna get a order of support from him. He done made a lot of admissions. Okay. And this court, they got different courts deal with different things, but the courts though can share and information. In other words, if under oath you said certain things over here, a lawyer over there can gain access to what you said over here to use it against you over there. Not only that, they can use shit here, even if you're in a criminal trial. They can use shit that you say under oath for any of these platforms, right? Against you. That's why you need to get a lawyer, so you don't end up saying some stupid shit. Even if the shit true, your lawyer may not ask you certain things to make sure you don't get that on the court record. Now, the other person, if they got a lawyer, they might be able to get you to say certain things. This fool right here didn't even ask her any questions because he don't care about that baby. He cares about her. Okay? He went on here acting dumb. Even in the report that he did before, what the lawyer called it, his affidavit, when they questioned him before, he was writing and saying things using cuss words. He even admitted on here that he was being facetious, doing a testimony. That's not a time to be facetious or to play around. People think the government is a game. It's a game you'll hate playing if you keep playing with these people. There's rules and regulations in our society. Everybody don't like them, but they are what they are. If you don't like the rules, then you make change. Try to get policies in place. Okay? Look, the white manosphere, they have been making change, but they regretting those changes. Oh, yeah, they regretting those changes. Just imagine you and your girlfriend, y'all live together, y'all all happy and shit, and she has the baby. You was there from the beginning. You don't have no doubt in your mind. And just because you not married, you can't put your name on that birth certificate. Now you got to go through a whole lot of hoops, loops, jump bounds in order to say that you're the father. Because in some of these states now, you got to take a DNA test. And if you think that shit is free, no, they attach pricing to all of that shit. So now you got to go spend money. It ain't going to be no cheap neither. You think it's going to be $25? They may say, okay, look, you can't put your name on this birth certificate. It's going to be $250. for you to take this test. And then therefore, after you take this test, it's going to cost you another processing fee of $250 just to be able to put your name on that birth certificate. You're talking $500 fucking dollars. So, yeah. And I'm talking about the men who don't even question. He looked at the baby and said, yeah, that his family gave him the approval. Everybody gave him the approval. And still though, before his name get put on there. Anyway, that's the change. That's the change they wanted. They thought it was a great thing. And a lot of them are mad about it. They fighting it. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Instead of just keeping it the way it was, if you think that child is yours and you ready to move forward, then you move forward. And if you're not, then you ask for a DNA test. That will be your choice, your choice. But when we put rules in place, the government makes the choice for you. So you now have no freedom of choice in certain matters. The government said no, and that's because you men said you wanted the government to step in its place instead of you being a man. Anyway, here we go.
The testimony and exhibits are in. I'm going to take a break, probably 5 to 10 minutes, review the testimony and my notes, and I will be back on the record in about 5 minutes to put a decision on the record.
Decision on
Thank
the
you.
record. A decision on the
Thanks.
record, baby.
Can't hear anything.
I couldn't read that.
Okay, court is back on the record in the Atchison versus Trevor matter. One thing I realized is I did not give the parties a final chance to make a closing argument or indicate in particular what type of arrangement they're seeking, if any. So, Mr. Trevor, as the moving party, I will start with you first. Is there any closing statement you want to make that would indicate exactly what it is you're asking this court to change or do?
I'm just trying to get back to the parenting time that I had with Lonnie before we had a big disagreement, and I try to be the best at it I can. I know that some situations may not sound like it. I know some things are taken out of context, and there's been a few things really defend myself on. But I just put this in your and God's hands.
If you wanted it in God's hands, you should have kept it in God's hands with your decisions. You put it into a man who don't even know your hands. Look, God was letting you get away with that fucker. Okay? I don't think this judge gonna let you just get away with fuckers. Okay? When they put things in writing and says this is the day you get this child between this time on Friday until this time on such and such. And guess what? Let's say on Friday after 5 p.m., you can't make it to get the child. And the mother has no choice but to keep the child, right? You can't then come back on Saturday and say, well, it's my time. She's going to be able to go to court and say, Your Honor, he's not abiding by the court order. He wants to come when he wants to come, wasting my time. And that's why I'm not giving him the child on Saturday when he's supposed to pick the child up on Friday. He don't get to come and mess up the rest, everybody else's life because he don't want to abide by the rules. Anyway, here we go.
And just pray that I get to spend quality time with my daughter again. It's been over a year, basically, since I really had to have her, ever. You know, for
Thank you.
3 to 5 days a week, because we did work it up to almost the 5 days. And, but yeah, that's it.
You done scared that
All
child.
right, thank you. Mr.
You saw
Sappel, any
you-
closing argument you want to make?
That child done saw him beat her mother. This child had him make threats, and now she's 5. So she remembering all kinds of shit. Right? When she was 3, she may have forgotten some of that stuff, but when she's 5, she's in school. She's remembering. Oh, ooh, thanks, babe. Would you put pepper on it?
No.
Oh, what's the black? Oh, powder and thing. Here we go. Yeah.
Just briefly, Your Honor, there was never parenting time that was 5 days. There was a period of time where there were 4 overnights every other week. But I think the evidence in this case is abundant, Your Honor, that that there's one grown-up in the room, so to speak, and that is Casey. She's the one that's done everything for this child. She's the planner. She's the responsible one. And Mr. Trevor has got serious deficits. It doesn't mean he doesn't love his child. He does. It doesn't mean he can't be an adequate father. He might be able to be that person, but it's going to take a lot of work. And his deposition testimony and his testimony today makes it so clear that he has virtually no barometer about what he says and does. He realizes that. Around this child in public settings, he's shown himself to be, to be violent, to be crude, and really makes it very difficult, in my view, to see the child having any real safety around him with this kind of conduct and behavior. It's about the most outrageous behavior, at least admitted behavior through his deposition testimony that I've ever seen. He just simply.
What y'all think? I'm gonna put the link out, right? I think he did this. He wanted to sign over his rights. I think he may have done this in order to, so he can essentially sign over his rights. And he might be thinking this is a way for him to get out of child support. But this isn't. I think some of these men think if they don't get to see the child, they don't have to be responsible for the child. No, if they deem you to be a danger to the child, you don't get to see the child or be around the child, but you still have financial responsibilities. Because I'm sorry, I don't see him really wanting to be with that child. Just like the lawyer already proved, he hadn't even asked to see the child. He haven't even called anybody or written anybody. He didn't even try to call to talk to the child on the phone in over a year. So something else is going on here. Then he got on here being rude, crude in his deposition that he did before they even in court. He was rude and crude. So if they had a deposition, that means they tried to work it out without the judge. Y'all do know that, right? Remember this James, whatever the lawyer, remember he was reading from a deposition. That means they got together and tried to resolve it without being inside the courtroom. And they wasn't able to come to an agreement. That is why they sitting in front of this judge for damn near 8 hours. Okay. And yeah, this is crazy. So here we go.
He can't control his temper, his use of his language, and he has an awfully difficult time looking out for the best interests of this child. And for that reason, for those reasons, really, we'd ask the court to fashion a parenting time remedy that gets him the help that he needs and allows him to work into a normal, more full parenting relationship, provided he can demonstrate that he doesn't present a risk to the child. We can avoid the kind of interactions between him and my client by fashioning third-party exchanges. But he gropes her virtually every time they're together. It's just an outrageous set of circumstances that no person should have to tolerate. But again, we can avoid the contact between the two of them. I suppose joint custody is really, this doesn't sound like a joint custody case. It is not. But they could use the family wizard to communicate. And the court, I'm sure, is very well familiar with things that can be done to sort of lessen the contact and the need to coordinate between the two of them. But ultimately, he has to get better before he can be an adequate parent and have unsupervised parenting time. Child support also is something that probably needs to be reviewed. It never has been. And so we would ask that that be done. His income, that's going to be a tough issue. He goes in his deposition from basically claiming to be a wealthy guy that, is making all this money to someone who has no money at all. So we'd ask that, they communicate using our family wizard, that a third party facilitate exchanges, that he not have overnight parenting time at this point, and that, whatever other measures this court feels are appropriate under these circumstances, we very much appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So in this matter, we're here today based on defendant's motion regarding parenting time, indicating he wants to set a specific schedule. The first order in this case, which has not been amended as of yet, was from 2018 that granted parenting time as the parties agree. First thing the court has to do is look to see if there is proper cause or a change of circumstances that warrants revisiting the custody arrangement. I think in this matter, there is proper cause and a change of circumstances. Certainly, the parenting time has not been happening since December. The reason it's not happening is a domestic violence incident between the parties, with Mr. Trevor being convicted for that. That happened in front of the child also. There was plenty of testimony, I think, that rises to the level of proper cause or change of circumstances in this matter. The court then looks to what is the established custodial environment. Clearly, the minor child has been primarily with mom and receives that support and guidance from mom. So it is my ruling that there is an established custodial environment only with the mom. Dad is not seeking to change the established custodial environment, however, just seeking to have some type of specific parenting time. I will review each of the best interest factors in this matter when deciding what changes, if any, should be made. I'll go through the factors individually right now. First factor is the love, affection, and emotional ties that exist between the parties involved and the child. Now, this factor doesn't look at the history. It looks at what exists currently as far as the love, affection, and emotional tie between the parties involved and the child. The testimony in this case is Dad has not had parenting time since.
That's right. Y'all know, now we know why the lawyer was asking particular questions like, hey, has he called? Has he called her to say goodnight? Has he called to say, I love you? See what I'm saying? Like he hit everything that this judge is about to go through, that lawyer had her questioned her about, and possibly even him.
Since December of 2022, and in 2022 did not have regular parenting time either. Dad has been separated from the child now for almost 8 months or around 8 months. And again, as indicated, there was some lesser contact throughout the last part of 2022 also. At this point, it's hard to see what the existing tie is between dad and the child. Certainly there was an existing tie when they were having their parenting time together, but that has been severed at this point. So I would find this factor favors the mother. She did testify regarding her relationship with the minor child, which is ongoing, as she has been the sole parent since December 2022. So the first factor favors the mother. The next factor is the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to give the child love, affection, and guidance, and to continue the education and raising of the child in his or her religion or creed. Dad didn't provide a whole lot of testimony regarding his relationship with the child. He testified as to what he
That's because he don't care about that child. He want that woman.
wanted as far as parenting time. Testified regarding some
He didn't once say, I love my daughter, Your Honor. I want what's best for my daughter, Your Honor. He never said, I want her to be a great person, Your Honor. In fact, he's against women, which essentially means he's against girls, which essentially means he's against his daughter. He's against education, so he won't be helping her with that. This man has got to be the worst dad I've ever seen, so far anyway. Okay?
of his concerns with the system, some of his concerns with Miss Atchison. He did talk about taking her to church, however, as well as a tornado cleanup. Mom testified regarding how she provides for the minor child in this area. This focuses on the capacity and the disposition, so the ability as well as the parent actually providing it. I think when you look at the testimony in this matter, this factor does favor the mother, given her stronger capacity, disposition to provide the minor child with these things. Dad, as I indicated, is commended for his continued involvement of the child in the raising in religion, as well as involving her in the tornado cleanup, as well as other lessons that he teaches her. But when the two are testimonies weighed side by side, I believe this factor favors the mother. Next factor is the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to provide the child with food, clothing, and medical care. Mom testified that she does provide all those needs to the child, that she has been the sole one to address the medical needs of the child. Her testimony was that she would also send clothing when the child would go to dad's for parenting time. Dad's testimony was that child support is the least important bill and obligation when paying for his bills. So while he does have the capacity, I don't find that the testimony supports that he has the disposition, given where he puts the priority of paying support. He does have a history of frequently needing show causes and bench warrants, so that is, his actions are true to his words regarding the priority of support. So I would find this factor favors the mother. The next factor is the length of time the child has lived in a.
Oh, damn it. I hit the rewind. Give me a second, y'all. Hopefully it starts where it stopped. I was coming to put the link in, but it may start where it stopped, hopefully. If not, I'll find it. I'm not sure what's going on right now.